South Carolina this afternoon will give us the first chance to look at that run-and-shoot offense that Joe Morrison has installed with his Gamecocks this year. The run-and-shoot's a high-octane offense that puts an awful lot of pressure on the quarterback. Joe Morrison says his freshman quarterback, Todd Ellis, can do just about anything they've asked him to do, although Todd says there's still plenty of room for improvement.
Well, we kind of like to think that he does everything well. Number one, we think that he reads pre-snap read. He reads the defenses very well. I think he does a good job of reading them once everything gets underway because those defensive secondaries and the fronts can change on him very, very quickly. And we think he does a good job of that. He does a good job of getting back, throwing the ball off balance, and he can throw the ball well when he does get set up. But he throws it well on the run.
We were disappointed, if anything, with our performance in the first game, that we actually did know how to execute a little bit better than we played, and we hope that we'll show that this weekend.
Well, Gary, you were down in South Carolina last weekend. You saw the Gamecocks against Miami. Your impressions of the run-and-shoot offense?
Well, South Carolina no longer has Beard-type players, at least not a Beard-type quarterback, so they run the run-and-shoot. They've got a great passing quarterback. They have speedy receivers. The only question is, in my mind, it's a high-risk offense. You put the ball in the air a lot, and if it doesn't work, you don't take a whole lot of time off the clock. So, does the defense end up on the field too much? Does that tell on you in the fourth quarter? We'll see.
The area of concern for the Virginia Cavaliers also lies with the quarterback. Senior quarterback Don Majkowski is going to be called on to do an awful lot this year for the Cavaliers, particularly throwing the football this year. At least that's the attitude of Don and head coach George Welsh.
I think we might be throwing the ball a little bit more this year, so it may give me an opportunity to excel more as a passer instead of just a running quarterback. We run the option, and most people just think of me as a running quarterback, so this year I hope to prove myself more as a passer.
Yeah, he's going to have to do more if we're going to win. That's what we feel right now. Now, I hope that we can develop, and we still want to maintain a running game because it's better to have a balanced offense. But we feel like in order to win this year that we can't get 300 yards on the ground, and so we have to get a lot more out of the pass. We got to get more first downs and more touchdown passes.
So that's a sneak peek at what we can expect this afternoon. And how about the guys who are going to be charged with the responsibility of getting it done? Let's take a look at the AC Delco starting lineups.
And on the weak side, linebacker.
At left offensive tackle, the lone senior starter, Curtis Hill. At left guard, it's Charles Gowan, the sophomore from Marion, North Carolina, alongside of center Woody Myers. At right guard, it'll be another sophomore, Paul Shivers. While at right tackle, it'll be a freshman, Mark Fryer. The wide receivers are good ones. Danny Smith from Atlanta, Georgia on one side, and Ryan Bethea out of Columbia, South Carolina on the other. The wingbacks, Kevin White from Charlotte, will handle one spot, and the sensational Sterling Sharpe will be the other wingback. The running back, a little pounder, Anthony Smith, while at the quarterback, freshman sensation, Todd Ellis. For the starting defensive unit of the Virginia Cavaliers, it'll be the rangy David Griggs at left defensive end. Alongside of him, 3-year veteran Rayotis Perkins. The nose man is a big one, 6'6", 275, Tim O'Connor. At right tackle, it is Billy Keys out of Washington, D.C., and Sean Scott, a veteran at right defensive end. The linebackers, some good ones. Delano Tyler is at the one linebacker spot, along with 6'6" Jeff Lageman. In the secondary, Don Bryant will hold down the strong safety position, while the free safety will be second-year man Eric Clay. One cornerback, 3-year veteran Kevin Gould, and at the right cornerback, Ryan Jackson. That's our AC Delco starting lineups for this afternoon. Remember, start your car with an AC Delco Freedom Battery and Surefire AC Spark Plugs. We'll be right back.
I always thought that time was a measure of quality. Now they've got technology that can cut the time of aging beer to that. Bam. Instant beer. Not Coors. Coors ages their beer longer than any other major brewer. Almost twice as long. To age any beer longer, it gets smoother. More easy drink. More like Coors. No, Coors won't take shortcuts with time. Coors is the one.
Another job interview, hotshot? Jefferson Pilot Communications.
Don't they televise big sporting events?
Racing, football, basketball, and that's just JP Teleproductions. Jefferson Data Systems designs computer systems for broadcasters. And Co-Opportunities and Jefferson Pilot Retail Services help broadcasters develop larger advertising budgets. Somebody's done their homework. I want them to like me. Well, they might, if your shoes matched.
Jefferson Pilot Communications is more than meets the eye.
Great.
When I needed a new chainsaw, I went right to a Poolin dealer.
That's Poland.
Feature for feature, dollar for dollar, it's hard to beat a Poolin.
Poland.
And a Poolin dealer can help you pick just the right saw for the job. Seems a saw this good deserves a dealer this good. So, when you're looking for a tough, dependable chainsaw, look for a dealer that sells Poland.
Poland.
That's what I said, Poland.
You said Poland?
Ask them.
Poland, America's chainsaw.
Welcome once again to Scott Stadium in Charlottesville. South Carolina and Virginia meet today. Two teams which both had big 1984s, then tailed off a bit last year. Today, one of them bounces back. 1984 was a glory year for South Carolina football. With a new coaching staff and renewed enthusiasm, Black Magic was the theme as the Gamecocks pulled one upset after another. A win over arch rival Clemson sent the 10-1 Gamecocks to the Gator Bowl. But now the Todd Ellis era has dawned. Ellis, the super recruit from Greensboro Page, has weapons like Sterling Sharpe in the new run-and-shoot Gamecock attack. Joe Morrison, the former All-Pro New York Giant and successful program builder at Tennessee, Chattanooga, and New Mexico, is now in his fourth year, still at the helm, and looking to bring the Black Magic back to Columbia. 84 was also a stellar year for Virginia. The Cavaliers capped an 8-2-2 season with a Peach Bowl win over Purdue. A strong offensive line and the wizardry of quarterback Don Majkowski keyed the Wahoo surge. At one point, the Cavaliers reeled off 7 consecutive victories. Last year, Virginia slipped to 6-5, but Majkowski still added to his career total and became the 5th all-time leading Virginia passer. Majkowski is still the leader, and now a senior, he's been reunited with 1984 ACC Rookie of the Year John Ford, who sat out 1985 with an injury. George Welsh will try to blend in new talent with those stars to produce a big winner in 1986. Today, the Nissan game of the week is South Carolina meeting Virginia.
Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions presents exclusive live coverage of Atlantic Coast Conference football. Today, live from Scott Stadium in Charlottesville, Virginia, it's the Gamecocks of South Carolina versus the Virginia Cavaliers. Brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Company, helping to put a brighter face on the future. Delta, the airline of ACC country. Delta gets you there. Coors, the beer with a difference worth tasting. Coors is the one. Poland, America's chainsaw. First Wachovia, serving the financial needs of individuals and businesses in the Southeast and the nation. Nissan and your local Nissan dealer, offering low financing on new Nissan trucks.
It rained here yesterday. In fact, they tell us it's been raining in Charlottesville all week, but you would never know it today. Sunny skies, 76 degrees. As you see, the humidity's not going to be a problem, and nor will the wind be a problem for these football teams. South Carolina, having lost last week, 34-14 to Miami of Florida, and Virginia starting its season today. Hi again, everybody. Gary Sparber, along with Jack Corrigan. And Jack, you do a ball game, you want to see some fireworks. Well, George Welsh told us yesterday, with his young offensive line, he has to throw the football to be successful. South Carolina runs out of the run and shoot. We know they're going to throw the football. We should have some fun today.
Well, the game of football basically is one of attacking and reacting to that attack. And with the people we have on the field this afternoon, guys like Majkowski and Ellis at quarterback, but even more importantly, guys like Sharpe and John Ford on the outside, you're going to put a lot of pressure defensively on both ball clubs. How the defenses react to the high-powered offenses tonight, that's going to be the key to the ball game.
And I have got to believe that the offensive line of Virginia, not only a key today, but to the Cavaliers' entire season.
Well, you have coaches tell you that, well, I got a green line, I'm going to have problems. They're young, but there's some good people on that line. They'll be interesting to watch today.
Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of action taking place on the field. We'll try to keep track of most of it up here, but we've also made arrangements down on the field. Our Ben Hamlin is with us today. Let's go down to the field and check in with Ben right now.
Well, thank you, Gary. It's great to be here. A great afternoon for football, and I'm especially anxious to see Chris Warren, the tailback, who was the former defensive back star today. They are comparing him to Eric Dickerson. If the young line can open some holes, he should be a lot of fun to watch. Gary?
Hey, if he's Eric Dickerson, they are not going to need to open any holes. Well, we have got South Carolina and Virginia. The Gamecocks taking the field. The kickoff coming up. We'll be back with football, ACC style, after this.
Oh! Just like that, this AC copper core spark plug can fire 30 times. That's the firepower today's high-revving car engines need. What about your plugs? If they can't fire for up to 30,000 miles, oh! Maybe you're missing out on peak performance. For the AC Delco retailer nearest you, just give me a call at 1-800-AC Delco. Wait for trouble, and you've got it.
We're watching the end of an era. What may well be the most significant set of government decisions since the New Deal. Recent legislative changes in Medicare and Medicaid, Social Security, even student loans, are telling us that in the future, we will be taking more responsibility for the comforts and assurances that many of us now take for granted. So it's not surprising more people are turning to Jefferson Pilot companies to help them deal successfully with these changes. We're one of the nation's leading sources of life, health, auto and homeowners insurance, annuities, pensions, and other financial services. Not just to protect your life, but your way of life.
Are you sure? Yes.
Really?
Yes. 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 Right now, your Nissan dealer is saying yes to great deals on new cars from Sentras and Stanzas to the awesome 300ZX. And Nissan is now making it even easier to own a new truck by saying
yes
to 5.7 Nissan-sponsored financing or save with $500 cash back from Nissan. So, come on down to your Nissan dealer now, because he's going to say yes! The name is Nissan.
South Carolina has won the toss. They have deferred their option until the second half, so Virginia will receive the football, and South Carolina will kick off here in the first half. And a new rule this year in college football, in fact, really two new rules. You kick off from the 35-yard line rather than the 40. That's to get more of a kickoff return into the ballgame, one of the most exciting plays you can have. And the second new rule is that you can only be within 10 yards of where your man kicks off. That's to head on collisions. There's your Virginia offense. Don Majkowski, the senior, outstanding quarterback. They feel he needs to make big plays for them to win. And Chris Warren, as Ben was telling you, he could be one of the top backs in the ACC before very long. The offensive line, really a question mark for Virginia. Roy Brown, the left guard, they feel he's a good one. John Fetzko as well, but really untested. Joel Dempsey, the only one with real experience at tight end. He can block and catch the football. There you see Scott Hagler. Hagler is one of the better kickers, really, in college football. He's got an extra point string going for himself that I believe is at 82 in a row. He is also an outstanding field goal kicker, but it's tough to get it into the end zone now, as we told you with the new rules, starting it out at the 35-yard line. Chris Warren is the man that Virginia would like to handle the football. He's the man in the middle of the field, back at about the 1-yard line. And I would think that Scott Hagler might just make the effort to keep it away from him. The crowd on its feet. Game number 2 for the Gamecocks. This is the opener for Virginia. And Chris Warren will get it at about the 14. Up to the 20, and look at him go at the 30. Cutting to the outside at the 40. He has one man to beat for a big game. 40, 45, and out of bounds. Chris Major, who so many times is the last line of defense for South Carolina, made the stop, but great field position to start out.
Hagler's kickoff was high, but not particularly deep, and it turned out that Warren caught the ball right as the wedge blockers made contact with the down-rushing South Carolina defenders. As soon as he split the seam, he was quickly into the open field. Great way to start the ball game for Virginia.
At the 37-yard line of South Carolina. It'll be interesting to see if Virginia comes out and runs the football. That's what they've done in previous years. George Wells told us, though, this year, ball control with the passing game rather than the power running game. 51-yard return before Chris Major made the saving tackle. First play on offense for the Cavaliers. And Majkowski. This is Pat Toland, and Toland is taken down after a good gain of about 6 or 7 yards. Willie McEntee, the right end, made the stop.
South Carolina likes to operate out of a 4-man front, although they had 5 men down to start. Tommy Chaikin, the nose man, is one of the good players up front, along with Kevin Hendricks. The linebackers, good ones, particularly Shed Diggs, the backside linebacker, and the secondary, a veteran group headed up by Greg Philpott.
A slot to the near side, 2nd down and 3 for Virginia. Majkowski with a man in motion, that's Mattioli, and a give straight up the middle. Chris Warren in the open field at the 15 and had one man to beat for the score, and the Virginia Cavaliers on the move, and Chris Warren, who Ben Hamlin told us maybe is Eric Dickerson-like as far as talent is concerned, is really getting the job done early.
Let's take a look at this from the end zone. Little influence blocking at the line of scrimmage. They like to give the ball to the tailback deep in the formation to let him option run, find the daylight, and Chris Warren did that one exceedingly well.
No great surprise. Warren was recruited by the best in the country. Notre Dame, Southern Cal, Penn State, Ohio State. He can play. 1st down inside the 10-yard line. Virginia on its opening series after the big kickoff return. Movement before the snap. They wanted to give the ball to Warren once again, but the officials blow this one down.
Very interesting here in the early going. Joe Morrison has gone away from his normal even front. We look at the indication that it's going to be against Virginia. The Gamecocks are very concerned about the Virginia running game, and so they have gone to the odd set. Watch the left guard. Actually, he moved because the defense moved, but of course, in college football, the defensive man can move back.
First down. Illegal procedure to call. Boy, what a great start for the Virginia offensive line to be moving the ball like this on the ground. I'm sure George Welsh extremely pleased with that. But now they come up with a 1st down and long yardage, 14 to go for the score. Majkowski on the option turns it up and gets to the 10-yard line. And South Carolina's defensive coaches, Jack, I have to believe, are more worried about what Don Majkowski can do and the variety of things he can do than anything else.
Without question. The situation right here now for Virginia, they were moving the ball well. They come up with a procedure penalty on 1st down. That changes what you want to do. It dulls the momentum to a certain degree. They get some of the yardage back on 1st down. This is a very big play in the series, 2nd and long.
The very dangerous John Ford split to the near side, but they haven't thrown the ball yet. Majkowski on 2nd down and goal. Chris Warren to the 5 and then wrestled down by the linebacker Kenneth Robinson. A flag is down.
That was thrown by the umpire, and his prime responsibility is watching the offensive line. We could have a holding call go against the Cavaliers.
And that appeared to be the initial indication, and there it is. Well, Virginia is a young team. We've talked at length already early in the broadcast about their offensive line, and this is something they have to worry about, mistakes early.
See if we can pick up the hold. You'll see the umpire throw the flag into the middle of the pile. It could be right there. John Fetzko, the right guard. It's hard to tell in the mass of all those bodies, but you could see the umpire throw the flag. He spotted the holding without question.
You can also see the Gamecock defense trying to swarm to the ball. They call them the fire ants, and they love them in Columbia. They want 11 people near the ball if possible. Here's the call.
Holding on the offense. 2nd down.
Well, this has become a really long yardage situation. 2nd down and goal from the 19-yard line.
Now the breakdowns inside the scoring zone, as coaches like to call it, really can chill a ball club.
Keith Mattioli to the near side, and to the far side, John Ford. This is 2nd down. Majkowski will throw. And he completes it over the middle to his tight end, Joel Dempsey, down to about the 12-yard line. And it will be 3rd down and goal from there. Zip Zanders, the middle linebacker for South Carolina, covering up.
Take a look at this from the end zone angle again. Good protection for Don Majkowski. Dempsey just runs a little turnout route from his tight end spot, finding the seam between the linebackers and picks up half the yardage, but they still need 10 to get into the end zone.
The one thing Virginia feels must improve this year is Don Majkowski's accuracy on his passes, 47% last year. Big play on 3rd down. Majkowski to throw, and he has got John Ford, but a good play by Chris Major, who has made so many saving tackles in his career, a 3-year starter for the Gamecocks, and he brings him down at the 4-yard line.
An awful lot of pressure put on Majkowski. He hung tough against the South Carolina rush and made a good throw. Unfortunately, not enough to get it into the end zone, and it looks like George Welsh is going to settle for 3.
There was a lot of talk this week about who would kick for Virginia. We believe it's going to be Jeff Gaffner if they got Mauricio Maka on the field.
It is Maka on the field.
Maka is on the field. We'll tell you a story about that. Scott Secules will hold. And this will be just like an extra point, really, except it's not in the middle of the field. It's from the left hash mark. 20-yard attempt. And that is good. So Virginia, after the long kickoff return by Chris Warren, and then a nice run from scrimmage by Warren, they get set back a bit on a couple of penalties, but they get the 3 points on the 20-yard field goal. Virginia draws first blood. It is 3-0. The Cavaliers on top of the Gamecocks. South Carolina's run and shoot will get the ball when we come back.
This probably looks like an ordinary office to you, but it isn't. We're Interstate Securities, and we bring Wall Street with all its knowledge, experience, and resources to your street with all its charm, warmth, and security. And it's all as easy as doing business with your neighbor. Interstate Securities. We bring Wall Street to your street.
Now's the time to vacation in Europe with Delta. We'll give you a free car for a week, a free hotel room for a night, and just $52 a night after that. We'll fly you to England, or France, or Germany, or Ireland. For prices in your city, call your travel agent. Europe and Delta.
Who's gonna be at the Silver Bullet tonight?
Blue 2 Coors Light draft.
Coming up.
You know, you get a great thing going here, big guy. But I think it's about time we get a bouncer.
Bouncer? Why do we need a bouncer?
Well, to handle some big, masculine, rowdy type who's trying to take advantage of my naive and delicate nature.
Who's doing that, Fran?
Well, nobody yet. But you never know.
There's no slowing down with the Silver Bullet tonight.
Coors Light beer.
Virginia leading it by the score of 3-0. Maurizio Manca, who you look at there, number 6, and his older brother Massimo Manca kicks for Penn State. But now it will be Jeff Gaffney who will kick off. They're going to split the duties. Until Friday, they didn't know if Gaffney would be able to play because he needed a 9th semester of eligibility. Didn't know if he'd get it. He did, though, and Gaffney kicks it off. A low kick. And this will be Raynard Brown at the 2-yard line. Brown has 3 blockers, goes right between them, and gets up to the 26, 27-yard line.
Craig Fielder, one of the men on the special unit, one of the first guys to make contact for the Virginia kick coverage.
I've got to give my blessing to the new rule, Jack, because the kickoff returns are fun to watch, and that's what the game's about.
Without question, and you could see the difference of the length of Gaffney's kick as opposed to Hagler's to give Virginia more opportunity to cover that kick.
Well, here comes the run and shoot, although this isn't the run and shoot. This is a wishbone set. And the pitch out coming from Todd Ellis to Kevin White, and White gets up to the 25, and that's also a little bit of a surprise on first down for Carolina. That didn't look like any run and shoot I've seen.
Well, Joe Morrison told us that they have the ability to run the wishbone out of their offensive package. They just take the wingbacks and make them tailbacks. Good job that time by the defensive end, David Griggs, to string out the play for Virginia.
It will be second down as you look at it from the end zone. There's the run and shoot with the 2 wingbacks and the 2 split receivers, and the man in motion there, Sterling Sharpe. He is dangerous. Todd Ellis can really throw. They isolate Sharpe out there, and Sharpe is run out of bounds by Sean Scott. And Scott, I think, is the guy that more than anyone else the South Carolina coaches are worried about on that Virginia defense. Very young Virginia defense.
Well, Mr. Scott, one of the tri-captains for the Virginia Cavaliers, is a sideline-to-sideline kind of player. Not very big at 207 pounds, but he covers the territory very well, and that was good zone coverage by Virginia against the run and shoot.
3rd down and 9. There's Todd Ellis. Again, the man in motion. This time it's Kevin White, though. Ellis now in trouble. Gets rid of it, but that was a desperation heave. Sterling Sharpe, had he gotten to the ball, would have been sorry he did. David Griggs, who had made a tackle previously, put the pressure on there, and Ellis had to get rid of it.
Well, one of the keys to stopping the run and shoot is penetration from your defensive ends. David Griggs and Edgar Davis, who was on there, did it very, very well.
So South Carolina will have to punt the football away. Scott Beam, a sophomore, only averaged 34 yards a kick, and there's the dangerous Chris Warren back at his 34-yard line. Beam gets it away. A pretty good kick. Warren retreating, fair catch call for it. He's got it at his 21-yard line. And I know Joe Morrison breathed a little sigh of relief when Chris Warren put up the right hand. 51-yard punt by Scott Bain. That'll bring your average up in a hurry. There's Joe Morrison, and they tell us the honeymoon is still on in Columbia. 20-15. Not a great year last season, but they had that fantastic 10-2 year 2 years ago. And if they don't lose to Navy, they might make a run for the national championship 2 years ago. And when you consider where South Carolina was before Morrison got there, that's not bad. There's George Welsh, and a similar story. 2 years ago, glory season, Peach Bowl victory over Purdue. First down now for Virginia, leading 2-0 or 3-0. They have it at their 22-yard line. First down, pretty good yardage. About 6 or 7 yards for the tailback Warren.
That was Kevin Morgan, the young man out of Dinwiddie, Virginia, who was checked into the ball game at tailback, and he did get good yardage on the play, Gary. One of the things that Virginia likes to do is run away from their strength. They had twins to the right side. They ran the ball back to the short side of the field.
Second down, short yardage from the 29-yard line. Derwin Griggs is the fullback. The ball is kept by Majkowski. The pitch out to Morgan across the 30-yard line, and down he is at the 32. And that was Kenneth Robinson, the linebacker, who brought him down there. Very close to the first down.
Watch the option with Don Majkowski. He's been running it for a number of years and does it well. The crucial thing for the quarterback is to read that defensive end and pitch at the last possible moment. When Kenneth Robinson made the contact on Majkowski, he neatly pitched it off to Morgan.
First down for Virginia. Derwin Griggs, who is in at fullback, they feel is very far advanced for being a freshman. They tell him how to run a play. He runs the play that way. That's the reason he's in there, even as a true freshman. Majkowski stumbled a bit as he dropped back. And he fires it in and out of the hands of John Ford, and that ball should have been caught.
Now, the safest pattern in football is to run the curl route. If it's executed properly, it's virtually unstoppable unless the guy can't hang on to the ball. And I tell you what, John Ford's not going to drop too many of those.
No, he's not. Of course, this is his first game back since that Peach Bowl we talked about 2 seasons ago, and he is a very nice guy to have on the outside of your offense. He gives them that vertical game that makes the rest of their offense so much more effective. They are thin at wide receiver. They're missing Quanah Bullock, who was expected to be a very important player. We'll talk more about that, but he's got a knee injury. Majkowski to throw. Protection is good. Throws it on the near side, and that one is dropped as well. Derwin Griggs, the fullback, coming out of the backfield, could not hold on. That one a little bit more difficult, but he had it on his fingertips.
Once again, the Virginia offensive philosophy. They put the formation to the wide side of the field. They run the action that way, slip somebody to the weak side. This time it's throwing the ball instead of running the football. Would have been a tough catch, but Griggs was there.
Well, we told you that George Welsh wants to play ball control offense, but if they drop the ball, you can't control it. 3rd and 10, just ahead of the 32. Protection is good. Majkowski steps up and hits his man, John Ford. Up at the 45-yard line. A nice throw by Majkowski, and Ford had no problem pulling that one in.
Virginia spread out its defense this time. Spread out South Carolina. Chris Major working man-to-man against John Ford. And all he does is drive the man off and break it to the sidelines.
I've got to believe, Jack, a pretty nice show by the Virginia offensive line, young as it is here early.
They're giving Majkowski good protection. All right, we've got formation to the left. Let's see if the Cavaliers go back to the right again.
Majkowski on first down from the Virginia 45. The Cavaliers lead 3-0. Mattioli was in motion. This is Kevin Morgan across midfield. Morgan driving Gamecock tacklers back behind their own 45-yard line. His forward progress took about 3 or 4 of that Fire Ant defense back into their own territory.
This may be a young offensive line, but it's big. 6'3.5", 258 the average across the front. They gave the hole for Morgan, and then look at the power of Kevin Morgan. Drake Philpott and Zip Zanders, the guys who were there to make first contact for Carolina, but I think they would have rather been the 3rd or 4th guy to make contact with Morgan.
Keith Mattioli is split wide to the near side, the bottom of your screen. That was John Ford at the top. Now they give to Morgan once again, and Morgan breaking through, and they are now beginning to shred that Gamecock defense just a bit, inside the 40 to the 37.
I'm very impressed with the offensive package that George Welsh has put together here for the first week of the season. That time, they put the two wide receivers up on the line of scrimmage and took Joel Dempsey, the tight end, and made him the motion man. And he was there to provide some blocking help at the point of attack.
That is 24 yards on 3 carries for Morgan. Second down after a good first down game. After the play action, Majkowski has to let it go a little bit early, and it is knocked away and incomplete. A flag is down. Good coverage on the play. Majkowski was pressured. That was Robert Robinson, the quarterback, covering, and he did his job.
Well, it was out on the wide side of the field, and they say that South Carolina lined up off sides on the play, so a break for Virginia.
And that will give Virginia a first down.
Mattioli did a nice job of reacting to that ball that was short and to his outside. And there were at least a few officials up in the stands here in Charlottesville that thought there was some extra contact downfield.
Here's the call.
Offsides on the defense, first down.
John Ford is an outstanding receiver. Mattioli can catch the ball, but the Gamecocks took on Miami of Florida last week, so they know what it's like to face a high-octane passing offense with Vinny Testaverde. We have 7 minutes and 50 seconds left to go. First quarter, it is 3-0 Virginia on top. And we'll take a break and come back after this for your local ACC stations.
You've got a star date with TV's most successful sci-fi series coming your way on Entertainment This Week. Blaine?
You explain.
Okay, I will. This weekend, Entertainment This Week invites you to a special celebration of the 20th anniversary of Star Trek. Then, it's an exclusive interview with the one and only Elton John.
I feel like a little kid.
And see why the fabulous Thunderbirds really live up to their name. All this weekend on Entertainment This Week.
Late night on TV 13.
I'd like to speak to you about multiple sclerosis. All of us have mountains to climb and obstacles to overcome. For people with MS, the challenge in life is even greater than most. The National Multiple Sclerosis Society offers programs that help them get up, get around, and get on with their lives. Scientists are working hard to find a cure. They're incurably optimistic. So are we, but we do need your help.
They have shown flip them away of butterflies. A couple of offensive penalties, but they lead at 3-0. And Jack Corrigan, they are driving once again.
This is an important series for both ball clubs here. Virginia wants to put 7 points up on the board. They felt they should have scored the first time. The Carolina defense spent a lot of time on the field already. They've got to make a stand here pretty soon.
Derek Boyd is in the ballgame at a wide receiver spot at the top of your screen. He's a freshman from Henderson, North Carolina. Don Majkowski dropping back to throw. The pressure is on. Majkowski rolling out. He throws and it's deflected and incomplete. And that was Kenneth Robinson, who's been all over the field here in the early going.
Well, the Carolina defense made no bones about the fact they were coming. As Robinson puts the pressure on, as Majkowski rolls. Nicely done. That was Robinson who knocked it down. The pressure was coming from Tommy Chaikin, the nose man, who slipped through cleanly.
So it will be 2nd down and 10. But the thing about Majkowski, with his experience, he will get rid of the ball and try to make something out of nothing. And more times than not, he will do it. Operating now from the 32-yard line of the Gamecocks, Virginia leading 3-0. Somebody jumped for South Carolina. Derwin Griggs, the fullback, but they'll take the whole play back. And it might have been Tom Chaikin, who was putting pressure on last play, who jumped across this time.
A little bit of a discussion as to who went where first.
We'll see if they were drawn off, but I didn't see movement on the Virginia offensive line, and apparently the official didn't either.
Disregard flag, defense in the neutral zone, offense stood up, no foul, replay the down.
Fair enough.
When we were kids, we used to call those two.
Do-overs.
Too close to call.
In New York, it was a do-over.
A do-over.
In Cleveland,
right.
It was a two.
It was a two.
It means the same thing. But they get paid to have explanations just like the one we just heard. 2nd down from the 32-yard line. 7:45 to go, first period. Virginia looking good in its home opener. It's John Ford to the far side, Mattioli to the near side. Kevin Morgan, the tailback. Derwin Griggs, the fullback, and Majkowski to throw. Protection good this time. He's got John Ford. Just let him a little bit, or he might have had 6, and that was Robert Robinson defending on the play for South Carolina. Robinson, who was the defensive player of the game last week for the Gamecocks against Miami, but he was almost in trouble on that play.
Carolina made the commitment to send lots of people. Leaves man coverage. The slant post pattern by Ford. He has got a step on Robinson. Just couldn't come up with the football.
Don Majkowski is 3 of 7 for 28 yards, but he's been better than that. He's been pressured. He's had a couple drops.
The last couple of downs, we have seen South Carolina go into what you would call a collegiate version of the Chicago Bears 46 defense. An awful lot of people up on the line of scrimmage.
Ball possession down on 3rd and 10. Protection is good. Majkowski to throw. He's got a man. Matty Joel Dempsey inside the 10, and Dempsey down at the 6-yard line, and Virginia converts. It'll be 1st and goal.
That time, South Carolina laid back in zone coverage. They decided to allow Majkowski the time. Watch Dempsey. He delays and then slips out over the middle, got behind the linebacker and in front of the deep people, and it took Brad Edwards, the safety man, to make the stop.
Virginia has had possession of the ball all but 1 minute and 2 seconds of this period, and they are knocking on the door now, leading 3-0 at the South Carolina 6-yard line. That is Dempsey in motion. Kevin Morgan. Morgan doesn't get much. That time the fire ant defense was there in multitude. Kenneth Robinson again, and I may have to just make a tape of me saying his name and play it over and over because he has really been there.
Well, he is their strong side linebacker, and it is his responsibility to move to formation. That's part of the reason why Virginia would like to run away from formation as often as possible. Makes it a little more difficult for Robinson to make the big plays he's been making.
Griggs the fullback, Morgan the tailback. Majkowski on 2nd down and goal. The pitch out. Kevin Morgan trying to get to the outside, and a good defensive play. Boy, the Gamecock over there really stuck with it. Might have been Willie McEntee, the defensive end.
It was McEntee who had to make the long run. Again, Carolina with the pressure. Robinson blitzing. They run the quick option to the outside. Now it's a foot race. And I tell you what, Mr. McEntee, well, he runs a 4.740 for a defensive lineman of 235 pounds, so he showed you can cover some territory.
Here's a big play. 3rd down and goal from the 6. Virginia already leading 3-0, and they have John Ford and Pete Mattioli split to the near side of the field. And Majkowski looking over there. This is for Ford. Overshot him and incomplete, and he was covered like a blanket. Double teamed, in fact. Robert Robinson over there, Chris Major over there. If the ball had been thrown just perfectly, maybe Ford would have had a crack.
Well, I hate to be in a situation where you have to throw the ball that close to the end zone. You just don't have the room. It's really a defense's advantage down there. That's about the only pass you can really get away with unless you try and pick somebody on a crossing route. Again, Virginia gets stymied down close, and they have to settle for 3.
And to give Majkowski credit, he threw it where the only man who could have caught it would be John Ford. Here's Mauricio Munco once again. He's got a 20-yard field goal to his credit. Now he will try from 22. Again, the left hash mark. CQ's to hold. The kick is up. And the kick is good. So twice Virginia has penetrated deep into South Carolina territory. Twice South Carolina has held near the goal line. And twice Mauricio Munco has come through with a field goal. It is 6-0 Virginia on top. Todd Ellis and the Gamecocks will get the ball when we come back to Scott Stadium.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
A baseball player, a movie star.
At Pilot Life, we know how important dreams are.
An astronaut.
After all, we've been insuring them for over 80 years.
A teacher.
With affordable life insurance policies that can guarantee your children's dreams.
A doctor.
Where are you going to get the money to be a doctor?
My daddy.
At Pilot Life, we believe nothing should happen to your children's dreams if something should happen to you. You see, we never forget that behind every policy is a person.
What's the best-selling line of imports in America? Who is the first to introduce 1987 models? Which of these hot newcomers comes in 12 models and carries the smallest price tag of all? And what car has come to define luxury to more drivers than any other luxury import? Where can you go to find the one that's right for you? They're available now at your nearby Nissan dealer.
The announcers for this game are approved and selected by Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions. Any rebroadcast or retransmission of this telecast without the approved written consent of Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions is strictly prohibited.
For South Carolina, Gary, even though they have allowed 2 scores, they have to feel pretty good here in the first period in that they're still down less than a touchdown in a conversion from regaining the lead. So even though they have seen Virginia dominate the first period, they have not really lost that much on the scoreboard if they can start to get their offense in gear.
Once again, Jeff Gaffney will kick off. We started to tell you earlier, Gaffney was ineligible until yesterday, and they had already told Mauricio Manca that he would be the kicker. So what they've done is compromise. They wanted to kick Gaffney, but they promised Manca, so they let Gaffney kick off, and Manca kicks the field goals. And Gaffney kicks off here, and Raynard Brown takes it in the end zone, and Gaffney really did the job on that one because the new rule is supposed to provide runbacks, but not that time.
A little breeze behind his back, but the All-American soccer player nailed that one. Let's take a look at the run-and-shoot formation so you get an idea. Basically, it's a double wing formation. You have wide receivers to either side, wingbacks to either side. What they like to do is take one of the wingbacks and run him in motion so that you end up having 3 receivers to one side of the field. Puts an awful lot of pressure on the defense that way.
And here are the Gamecocks in that run-and-shoot. They've been in the wishbone one play in this game, and then the run and shoot the rest of the way. Here's the option by Todd Ellis, and the pitch out to Anthony Smith that gets across the 25-yard line, and then is tripped up. Rayotis Perkins in on the play, as well as Dennis Fields.
Well, you can see the domination of Virginia thus far when you look at the total yards in the first period. UVA with 117 yards of offense, South Carolina with just 6.
We talked about how young Virginia is on the offensive line. They are just as young at the linebacker spot. Raynard Brown, this time a man in motion on 2nd down and 6. Anthony Smith doesn't get much, up to about the 27-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and about 4.
Defensively to this point, Gary, Virginia operating much like Miami did last week against the Gamecocks, not running a lot of people around in the secondary, trying to give a basic 3 deep coverage, having a safety man and 2 deep cornerbacks, and then taking their 4th defensive man and having him run with the guy who goes in motion.
A ball possession down on 3rd down and 3. Raynard Brown in motion. Ellis to throw, stumbled just a bit, and now throws high and overshoots Ryan Bethea. It would have been tough to get it in there. I don't know how much the stumble had to do with it. Perhaps Todd Ellis could not read as quickly as he wanted to because he stumbled coming away from the line. For whatever reason, the ball possession down is not converted.
And once again, as you alluded to in our opener, South Carolina with the run and shoot, if it's unsuccessful, does not run much time off the clock. 3 and out, they again put an awful lot of pressure on their defense.
Absolutely. Chris Warren back to receive the punt at his 29-yard line. Bain got off a beauty last time. This one, well, this is another pretty good one. Warren this time will fumble the football. He's 24, and the Gamecocks may have it. A Gamecock got a hand on it. The Zebras will have to tell us, though. They are doing their best to unpile the wreckage. That was a 48-yard kick. Gamecocks say they have it. No official word. Gamecocks apparently have the football. I didn't see the official. Yes, there it is. Gamecocks have the football.
Let's watch the miscue. Chris Warren, the young punt returner for Virginia, lets this ball catch him up high in the shoulder pads. You've got to get your hands on the ball first when you're fielding a punt. Banged off the shoulder pads, and Scott Windsor was the guy who came down quickly. We're going to give him credit for recovering the fumble.
We will see now what the Gamecocks can do with outstanding field position for the first time in the ballgame. They have not moved on offense, but now they are knocking on the door.
Be very interesting to see here what Joe Morrison calls on first down. The first 2 times South Carolina has had a first down, they've operated out of the wishbone. This time they're in the run and shoot.
Brown in motion. And they might have lost the football right there. Sterling Sharpe didn't get much. I thought perhaps they had lost the football, but instead, what they lost was yardage, a couple of yards back to the 24. Billy Keys and Jeff Lageman, excuse me.
They used to call this the old scissors play in football a number of years ago. The wingback countering to the backside. But boy, Virginia with just great penetration from Billy Keys really disrupted the whole attempt there by South Carolina.
Second down and 10. Again, Raynard Brown. Ellis to throw now. Pressure is on, and Ellis almost has it picked off. And did he have it picked off? No.
Kevin Cook, the young freshman defensive back, nearly had the interception. I got to smile a little bit here, Gary. The past couple of years in Cleveland, I've helped coach a high school football team with one of my classmates in high school. This young man played on that team, Kevin Cook, a freshman out of Cleveland, Ohio, and he, according to George Welsh, is going to be a good one.
And you were the one who taught him how to catch the ball. Is that it?
Well, nope, I told him how to catch it. I guess he didn't quite get all that I
could have
taught.
put some circus music on that juggling act.
Great effort, though.
It was. Third down. Brown in motion. Ellis in the run and shoot. Has a man open and complete down at the 6-yard line, and that quiets the crowd here at Virginia very quickly. Raynard Brown, a wingback coming out of the backfield, makes the completion. And number 27, Dennis Fields, making the tackle for Virginia.
This is a timing pattern. The receiver runs a certain count, stops, pulls up, and turns. And when Brown pulled up, Fields slipped and fell, and that was all South Carolina needed to get the big first down. And boy, that dropped interception attempt looms larger now.
For the second time in the game, South Carolina in the wishbone. They came out on their first play of the first period this way. They go to the right halfback. It's Sterling Sharpe, and he's got a touchdown now. A flag is down. We'll see if this nullifies it or not. But Sterling Sharpe into the end zone for 6 South Carolina points to tie the game. Now we'll see.
Where they threw the flag, we may have an illegal block or a holding call because there was no touchdown signaled, and usually that tells you, face mask against Virginia.
That should be 6 points. That's what the Gamecocks are signaling, and I think the official will signal it.
Dead ball foul, 5-yard penalty for face mask against Virginia. It will be administered on the kickoff.
I think he means touchdown. Touchdown, South Carolina. We are tied at 6, and Scott Hagler will come on and look to add the extra point. So the fumble by Chris Warren, and let's face it, Chris Warren giveth and he taketh away in this quarter. He made the great kickoff return, setting up a field goal, then fumbled a punt, and that set up this South Carolina touchdown run by Sterling Sharpe. So Hagler will come on. He's hit 82 in a row. One of the top kickers in the nation. In fact, he will simply be up for All-American this year. 5'9", 160-pound senior. Rodney Price will hold. This is for the lead. He missed it. After 82 consecutive extra points, boy, that one is going to sting for 2 reasons. Number 1, he lost the streak. Number 2, they don't get the lead.
Take a look at the touchdown run again. They operate out of the wishbone. Sterling Sharpe showing you that he can do it from a running back spot as well as the wingback position. Boy, he picked his way nicely on that touchdown run.
So the Gamecocks have tied it on the run by Sterling Sharpe. It's 6-6, and we're coming back after these words.
The way I see it, people used to know about nature, respected it. Then they figured they'd try to make it better. Take beer. Can you imagine why anyone would want to add anything artificial to something that just comes naturally from ingredients like grain, water, barley, hops? Neither can Coors.
Wachovia has the loan to put wind in your sails. Wachovia, where the money's coming from. Wachovia has the loan to give your home a little elbow room. Wachovia, where the money's coming from.
Take one more look at the touchdown run of Sterling Sharpe, and let's see if we can pick up the face mask penalty, which gives South Carolina an extra 5 yards in the kick. There it is right there. No question about it. Ray Savage, the linebacker, reached out and grabbed the face mask. It's a 6-6 ball game.
And that penalty is the reason that Hagler will kick off from the 40-yard line rather than the 35, the 5-yard assessment. We're tied at 6, 3 minutes and 46 seconds to go. That is Chris Warren, who's had a great run back to start the ball game and also has fumbled a punt. This is a line drive and a touchback as well. So Virginia, which had ball control drives and put a couple of field goals on the board after the fumbled punt, now find themselves in a 6-6 time with not very good field position back at their 20.
Well, they go back to basically a brand new ball game. All the action in the first period, and we still have 3:46 to play here in the opening quarter. I won't say it's been for naught, but at least as far as the scoreboard is concerned, it's like a 0-0 situation here. Both ball clubs could go back to page one, so to speak.
Although Virginia knows it can move the football, and that's something the Cavaliers did not know coming into the game. The I backfield. Kevin Ferguson, reserve tight end, in motion. This is Warren with great speed at the 25. Chris Major turns him back inside, and Greg Philpott brings him down at the 28-yard line.
Chris Major is one of the fine cornerbacks in the Southeast, and I'll tell you one thing, he did a very nice job of not only making the tackle eventually to make it a 9-yard pickup, but more importantly, kept himself alive as Mattioli tried to screen him off to give Warren a lane. He kept his footing and made a good play.
They can do anything they want here. Second and less than a yard. Majkowski, after play action, will throw. This is for John Ford, and it's off his fingertips and incomplete. Brad Edwards defending on the play, but that was very close to a connection in Gamecock territory. And Ford and Majkowski, who haven't been together for about a year because of the injury, they have come very close a couple of times.
Well, the balls that John Ford has had problems with, as you see this one again just off the fingertips, are coming in the middle of the field. And when you haven't played for a while, consciously or unconsciously, you know the contact is coming in the middle part of the field. John hearing some footsteps a little bit. Give him a few more minutes, he'll settle down.
Majkowski 4 of 10 for 55 yards, third and less than a yard, and Majkowski gets it by himself. He didn't need a whole lot of surge by that offensive line. He actually got pretty good surge and got across the 30-yard line.
Getting back to the John Ford situation, Gary, Virginia knows what kind of talent John is, and so they're not going to be overly concerned if he is struggling here in the early going. 2 years ago, he demonstrated he could play good football. He is in a situation right now where he hasn't played in over a year, and he's just trying to get himself in gear. In a 6-6 ball game, lots can still happen.
With 2:49 to go in the first period. Majkowski has a first down just outside the 30. Short pass formation. He throws it outside, completes the ball to Ford up across the 45-yard line and to the 46. And anytime you isolate, well, actually, Matt, was that Mattioli that caught it out there?
That was
81, Keith Mattioli. Anytime you isolate one of your skilled receivers out on the sideline, good things can happen.
Well, they went to the twin set that time with Mattioli and Ford both over there. Puts it a little bit more into a basic zone or a man-to-man coverage for South Carolina. Mattioli with a quick turnout. Robinson fell down, so they get good yardage.
First and 10 again. Virginia has moved the football very smartly in the first period. We're tied at 6. Majkowski on a delay. Chris Warren across midfield. Gets outside. Look out now. 40-yard line. He may be gone. Chris Warren at the tail of 5. Goodbye. He's excited.
That's how you make up for a fumble. I mean to tell you, he accelerated once he cleared the linebackers.
55-yard touchdown run for Chris Warren, and he is going to be fun to watch. He was a defensive back last year, only because he's such a great athlete, they had to get him in there as a freshman. But then when Howard Petty didn't come back for personal reasons, Warren is let loose in the backfield.
When he accelerated, Greg Philpott, it was a very fine safety, looked like he had an angle on him. It dissipated very quickly.
It really did. 12-6 the score. Virginia on top. Secules to hold. And the kick by Monka is good. And Virginia out to a 13-6 lead.
Look at it from the end zone. Watch Roy Brown, the tackle, create the hole, and now the acceleration. Boy, he just blew by Matt McKernan, the linebacker, and you can see Philpott thought he had an angle, but no, sir. Beautiful touchdown run for Chris Warren.
All Chris Warren has done from scrimmages, carry the ball 3 times for 85 yards and a touchdown. Add that to a kickoff return, and you can excuse a fumbled punt here and there.
The guy who also threw a very fine block was Mike Battle. Boy, they just are doing a good job of the option blocking. Once again, away from formation, create the seam, and let the talented running back do the job.
Offensive line coach Tom O'Brien at this early juncture has got to be thrilled on the Virginia side.
Well, Ben Hamlin talked about thoughts of Eric Dickerson on the Virginia bench. Certainly must be that situation. He has demonstrated Dickerson-like abilities.
And give Virginia credit for recruiting him. Notre Dame, Southern Cal, Penn State, Ohio State. Virginia beat them all out and got themselves a thoroughbred. There are the deep backs for South Carolina, Raynard Brown and Sterling Sharpe. Jeff Gaffney, the soccer player for the last 4 years, kicks off a high kick. Raynard Brown again at the 2. To the 10. Cuts to the near side. In trouble, and down he goes. Don Bryant, I believe. Yep.
What a weapon John Gaffney is going to be for Virginia in terms of kick coverage.
Darrell Hammond also in on the stop.
80-yard scoring drive in 5 plays. That's the way to come back from having the other ball club tie up the game. The touchdown, a 55-yard run by sophomore Chris Warren.
You know, I realize this is the first game of the season, but the folks who voted on Offensive Player of the Year in the ACC who are watching this game might be thinking about Chris Warren right now. And I realize it's very early. First down, 19-yard line. Todd Ellis never got a chance to run the option. The Virginia defense just collapsed on him. 98, David Griggs, the sophomore out of Pennsauken, New Jersey.
Griggs is a converted tight end. He split a little bit of time between offense and defense last year. Look at the penetration. Also, Billy Keys is there.
In fact, it was Keys, actually, who made the initial hit.
Griggs made the proper play, though. He forced Ellis to turn it inside, and that's where Keys was waiting for him.
Loss of about 2. Second down and 12. Raynard Brown was the man in motion. This is Harold Green, who got a couple of yards. He didn't get much there. Again, good work by the Virginia defense. And as they unpiled Jeff Lageman, who had the older brother, Scott Lageman, who just graduated. And they say that Jeff is ahead of his time because of knowledge of the game through his brother. Harold Green, the guy who carried the ball, only got a couple there, but he is a thoroughbred himself.
That was a how do you do in the interior of the line. I mean to tell you, Lageman stepped up and filled the hole that time.
Green got back to the original line of scrimmage, close to the 19-yard line. It is 3rd down and 10 for Todd Ellis in the run and shoot. Ellis with a short screen and trying to make the move, and now making the move, and a fumble football up at the 25-yard line. Who's got it? I think Virginia got there last. Let's see. Flag came in late.
The ball was bouncing around. That flag may go against South Carolina because Mike Patine had a shot at the ball, and it looked like somebody hung on to him. Prevented him from going after the football.
Harold Green was the ball carrier. Made a nice cut toward the middle of the field, then lost the football. I thought Virginia got there last, but then the official indication seemed as if it was 4th down, which would have meant that South Carolina held on.
Well, Harold Green made the wrong choice in terms of where he was going. It was a holding call against South Carolina. Now, whether
they'll decline this.
Sure, because it's not a dead ball situation. They don't want to give South Carolina another play. Watch it again.
On the offense, during a loose ball, decline, 4th down.
Watch as Green gets stripped of the ball right here. Now, the ball comes loose, and right there, yes, Patine right there being held as he was trying to go after the football, and that's why we had the flag.
We'll get to see Chris Warren again as Bain will kick for the 3rd time for South Carolina. Fair catch called for this time. Up at the 47-yard line, Warren has it. And Virginia will have very good field position with 38 seconds left to go in the first period. Let's go down to the field to our sideline announcer, Ben Hamlin.
Well, Gary, on the last offensive series for Virginia, the defense got together. The coaches made some adjustments. It seems to have worked. Virginia has the ball again, and plus these guys have been sitting on the sideline with cold towels and cold drinks. So all in all, I think that will help Virginia later in the game.
Thank you, Ben. Cavaliers looking good. They are on offense now up at their 47-yard line. Tim Finkelstein in the game at wide receiver. Majkowski to throw, and he's trying to hit Finkelstein and throws it over his head and incomplete. And that time Majkowski just overshot his receiver.
Either he overshot the receiver or Finkelstein, who was a walk-on here in the Virginia program, might have cut his pattern short because, by the way, Don put the velocity on that ball. I think maybe Finkelstein ran the wrong pattern, not quite deep enough.
2nd down and 10. Except for the punt fumble earlier by Warren, Virginia has played outstanding football. Majkowski has a good pocket to work with here. Flares it out through the hands of the intended receiver, and that play would not have gotten much under any circumstances. Kenneth Robinson and Derwin Griggs all covered up.
Once again, nice work on the left side of the Virginia offensive line to pick up the blitz of South Carolina. Majkowski has had plenty of time to throw the ball this afternoon. Unfortunately, that time for Virginia, there really was nobody open of any value. That was Shed Diggs blitzing from the backside, and he was stuffed.
3rd down and 10. Majkowski now 5 of 13 for 70 yards. May have taken too much time. Or did someone encroach? Let's see.
Well, the flag was thrown upfield, which generally indicates delay of game.
Yep. So that'll bring up 3rd and 15.
That's the responsibility of the back judge to watch the huddle time. You have 25 seconds to get the snap off in college football.
Dead ball foul, delay on the offense, 3rd down.
So with a 3rd and 15, Virginia will operate from their own 42-yard line. They lead in the ballgame 13-6. The clock is stopped right now with 27 seconds left to go.
See what kind of pressure defensively Carolina will put on Majkowski.
Majkowski has time, steps up, may run, will run. Midfield and down to the 47-yard line. He did not get the first down. Nice run, but about 3 yards shy.
With 3rd and long yardage, Joe Morrison has his defensive unit drop back, and they had 8 men in coverage. Watch the linebackers dropping back. Robinson, McKernan, and others. And it is finally number 81, Zip Zanders and Kenneth Robinson, that stopped Majkowski shy of the first down.
That's the end of the first period. The Cavaliers set up to punt. The clock shows 0-0, so they will not have very far to walk to change in since they're right out there near midfield. And this will be the first Virginia punt of the ball game. They lead it 13-6. We are 1 quarter in, and they will be giving up the football. We'll be back after this.
Another job interview, hotshot?
Jefferson Pilot Communications.
Don't they televise big sporting events?
Racing, football, basketball, and that's just JP Teleproductions. Jefferson Data Systems designs computer systems for broadcasters. And Co-Opportunities and Jefferson Pilot Retail Services help broadcasters develop larger advertising budgets. Somebody's done their homework. I want them to like me. Well, they might, if your shoes matched.
Jefferson Pilot Communications is more than meets the eye.
Atlantic Coast Conference football coming your way Saturday. This week, the Hokies of Virginia Tech venture into Death Valley to take on the Clemson Tigers. Watch the ACC stars shine as 2 veteran teams battle it out. Visiting coach Bill Dooley and his victory-hungry Hokies face Danny Ford's mighty Tigers in their home den. ACC football. Virginia Tech at Clemson. Don't miss it.
13-6 the score. This the Nissan game of the week. Virginia on top by a touchdown over South Carolina. Total yardage, Virginia 208 yards, South Carolina 29. Gamecocks have to be happy to be within a touchdown right here. Joel Dempsey punting for the first time in the game will hit it from about his 40. Sterling Sharpe back to receive at his 10-yard line. Sharpe is dangerous. Very, very poor kick. We'll see how it bounces. Takes a little bit of a Virginia bounce and then a lateral bounce out of bounds at the 36, and good field position.
It appeared to me, Gary, now I didn't get an opportunity to see that much of Virginia practicing, but it seemed that Dempsey was very close. He was no more than 12 yards from the center on the snap there. South Carolina put some good pressure on him, and he had to hurry the kick.
Just a 12-yard punt, and that sets up the Gamecocks in their run and shoot at the 35-yard line. Todd Ellis has not gotten a chance to show us how good a passer he is very much today so far, but we'll see it before the day's over. That was Sterling Sharpe in motion. Ellis still with the football. Pitch out. Sterling Sharpe gets through the hole, and good yardage for Sterling Sharpe as he crosses midfield. Well-executed option play that time for the Gamecocks, and the tackle finally made for Virginia's number 25, Mike Patine.
Good job as well by Kevin White, who provided the block for Sterling Sharpe. Watch it, this is the wingback option out of the run and shoot. Initially, the run and shoot was more of a running formation. That was the block at the bottom of your screen a moment ago. Nicely done on Sean Scott that really sprung Sharpe loose.
Kevin White in motion. That was an 18-yard run for Sharpe. Harold Green this time has a hole and has a nice cutback to the 35 and down to the 24-yard line. Harold Green, we talked about him earlier. He is out of Stratford, South Carolina. Sean Scott finally ran him down, but he scored 4 touchdowns in the Shrine Bowl, the annual All-Star game between North Carolina and South Carolina, and here he is.
It's the quick inside handoff. Green almost bobbles his handoff, puts a great move on Sean Scott here, and it's only the tenacity of Scott that kept it from being a bigger play as he recovered to make the tackle.
Here come the Gamecocks, now operating inside the 25-yard line of Virginia, down a touchdown, just underway second period. Ellis fumbles the snap and covers up.
And we had all sorts of movement along the line of scrimmage, but I don't see any flags out there, so we're just going to have a second down and a loss of some yardage for South Carolina, although they are discussing the situation right now. Robert Wood, our referee this afternoon.
Since Sean Scott made that tackle, and since I've been worrying about forgetting to say this for the entire game, let me say that Sean Scott's parents are celebrating their 28th wedding anniversary. So congratulations to Ruth Ann and Frank Scott. Second down. Harold Green bursts up the middle, 10-yard line. We may have a tie ball game. 13-12 right now, the extra point to come.
South Carolina fooled the Virginia offense that time. They normally run the long motion and allow the defense to adjust. This time, when they got into the quick motion, they snapped the ball. Green stepped into the secondary, moved around Dennis Fields, the cornerback, and the next thing you know, he was in the end zone.
26 yards. And here is the extra point attempt by Hagler, who will try to start a new streak. He had hit 82 in a row before missing one earlier in this game. Well, he's got it going again, but as a senior, I don't know that he'll get it up there again unless the Gamecocks really run and shoot. 26-yard touchdown run. The Gamecocks have tied it up at 13, and here it is.
Boy, Harold Green just stepped right around Kevin Cook and Dennis Fields. You're talking about a guy with some good size. Green, 205-pound freshman.
13-11 to go, first half at Scott Stadium. Virginia 13, South Carolina 13, and we'll be back.
Who's gonna be at the Silver Bullet tonight?
Give me the news, I can take it. You won, Lou. You won.
You won? Hey, they won! First life for the team!
The Bullets' first win!
Everything. Tell me everything.
There was no contest.
No contest. I love it. Well, what was the score?
Wasn't even close.
Whoa, Franny, a blowout. Oh, you guys are great. Score. Come on, come on.
No contest, Luke.
The other team never showed up.
There's no slowing down with the Silver Bullet tonight.
Coors Light Beer.
The Delta professionals always make you feel like you're on top of the world. Delta gets you there.
Oh, that's great. When I needed a new chainsaw, I went right to a Poulin dealer.
That's Poland.
Feature for feature, dollar for dollar, it's hard to beat a Poulin.
Poland.
And a Poulin dealer can help you pick just the right saw for the job. Seems a saw this good deserves a dealer this good. So, when you're looking for a tough, dependable chainsaw, look for a dealer that sells Poland. Poland. That's what I said, Poland.
You said Poland?
Ask them.
Poland, America's chainsaw.
We are tied at 13 as you look at Harold Green, who scored the touchdown. And North Carolina on top of the Citadel, 14-7. The Citadel, nobody's patsy in opening games. They took South Carolina right to the wire 2 years ago at Williams-Brice, and South Carolina had to throw an option pass to win that game, a halfback option in the final minute. There is Hagler. We're tied at 13, and Hagler boots it off. Chris Warren in the end zone. Discretion, the better part of valor here. He'll start from the 20.
Even with the 5 yards further back, a little breeze behind him, Mr. Hagler shows he's got a strong leg.
Well, Gaffney just did that with the wind behind him a little while ago, so Hagler says, hey, I can do that too. And now Virginia's offense comes out. Boy, we have seen some skilled position people in this ball game so far. Warren on one side, Harold Green and Sterling Sharpe on the other.
And one thing South Carolina has done is take advantage of Virginia miscues to get back into this ball game.
Tim Finkelstein splits to the near side. John Ford to the far side. Majkowski, your quarterback, at the 20-yard line. Chris Warren tripped up. Somebody got a hand around his ankle at the 22-yard line, or there might have been trouble on that one. I believe that's Kevin Hendricks, 98. Yep.
Take a look at the quick pitch out of the I formation. Warren trying to step outside, and Kevin Hendricks got just enough of the ball carrier at defensive end, along with Shed Diggs, to make the stop.
Not bad numbers for Chris Warren. Second down, a long 7. That's Dempsey, the tight end, in motion. Fake to Warren. Majkowski to throw. And through the hands and then intercepted. Gamecocks have it. First down at the 33-yard line of Virginia, and that was Ken Sally.
Ken Sally comes up with the interception. Tim Finkelstein was wide open. Majkowski put the ball right into his hands. He couldn't hang on to it, and Carolina with another big break in the ball game.
You know, not to pick on Finkelstein, but Quanah Bullock, who would be in the ball game at that spot, banged up a knee earlier this week. He is out, and that may have hurt them.
It's a break for Virginia that Sally couldn't keep his feet, or the Gamecocks would have been deeper into Virginia territory.
35-yard line right now, though, for them. Tied at 13. Sterling Sharpe, the man in motion. Option from Ellis to Harold Green. 30-yard line. Good blocking. Cuts back. Fumbles the football. Who's got it? I think Virginia got it back.
Dennis Fields came up with the football for Virginia.
Well, we're seeing great running and a little bit of shoddily ball handling.
Well, when you get young players, you have the tendency to make early mistakes. Watch the great cut here by Green to get around Cook, but he is stripped of the football by David Griggs. Now that was Mike Pascucci that came up with the initial hit. In any event, Virginia gets the ball back.
At their 21-yard line and a tie, 13-13. And the give right up the middle. Pat Toland, I believe, for his first carry. Let's wait until they unpile.
It was Jeff Lageman who made the hit on Green that produced the fumble.
Pat Toland is a guy they're very high on. They call him a bull in a china closet. Hasn't refined all his ability, but a great deal of natural ability. Very powerful and strong. And he got good yardage there out to the 27-yard line. Majkowski now on second down. Chris Warren off to the right side. Didn't get much, if he got anything.
Well, that time the battle on the line of scrimmage was won by the South Carolina defense. Byron Love, a big nose man, 243-pounder out of Griffin, Georgia, led the penetration by the Gamecock defensive line, and as soon as Chris Warren hesitated getting into the hole, he was in trouble.
Love's been a hard luck player for South Carolina. Broke his hand against Michigan last year, came back in 3 weeks and broke the other one. Third down and 5. Majkowski has good protection and has his man for a first down up across the 35-yard line. A flag is down back in the offensive backfield, so this very well could be called back. And we'll just have to wait and see. The catch was made by Joel Dempsey. If it stands, it's the 34-yard line, but it's not going to stand.
We had motion in the Virginia backfield.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jack. I believe that's the third time they've hurt themselves with an offensive penalty.
They got themselves in trouble with penalties early in the ball game that forced them to settle for field goals on their first 2 possessions. Now they lose a first down catch on backfield in motion.
Illegal motion on Virginia. Third down.
Ever since they wrote the song Backfield in Motion, they never call it that anymore.
Well, it's about the only place you can have it, either the wide receivers or one of the running backs moving too quickly.
Third down and 10. 21-yard line. This time the backs are split. We haven't seen much of that. Majkowski lofting it up over the head of the intended receiver, the tight end, Joel Dempsey. Double coverage on the play. Virginia will have to punt.
Majkowski, under an awful lot of pressure, really got unloaded upon as he released that football and couldn't find Dempsey going straight down the middle. Boy, the penalty really hurts Virginia. Now they have to punt it away and probably give South Carolina pretty good field position.
Joel Dempsey should hit this around his 10-yard line. You see that he needs a pretty good punt here to get that average up. Sterling Sharpe waiting at his 35. We are tied at 13, and it has been a fun ball game so far. Another short one. This won't even get to midfield. Takes a lateral bounce out of bounds, and South Carolina has really taken advantage of the punting game. 2 bad punts by Virginia and a punt return that was fumbled by Virginia. Just a 14-yard punt there. So the Gamecocks will set their run and shoot up in good shape, and we'll be coming back after this word from your local ACC stations.
Crow Wing, Minnesota, and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Crow Wing means Northern Pike, big and mean, and Old Milwaukee means a great beer, cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer, and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light.
There's nothing like the flavor of a special place, and Old Milwaukee beer.
Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. You know, doesn't get any better than this.
Celebrate the Floor Show's 11th anniversary with us and get the greatest savings of the year on America's favorite carpet. Beautiful Lee's carpets as low as $9.95 a square yard. That's a savings of $3 a square yard on a quality carpet that looks good now and will continue to look great for years to come. The children are back in school, so now's the time to get the carpet you've always wanted. All of our Lee's carpets are on sale now, and you'll never see greater values at the Floor Show.
Atlantic Coast Conference football, seen exclusively on Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions.
Trying to keep the air circulating on the sidelines. It's a warm afternoon, and of course, anytime you're on the artificial turf, it reflects that heat and makes it just that much warmer.
South Carolina setting up shop in the run and shoot at the 35-yard line of Virginia after the second poor punt by the Cavaliers. The man in motion this time is Harton Brown, number 11. The option play, and the pitch to Green. Harold Green trying to turn the corner, does turn the corner, and gets to the 30-yard line. It looked for a moment as if Kevin Gould, the leader of that secondary, was going to be able to halt the motion of Green, but Green stuck with it and got around the corner.
He's been impressive thus far. Very interesting play calling by Joe Morrison to this point. 10 first down plays for South Carolina, 10 running plays. It may be the run and shoot. We're seeing much more of the run than the shooting by Todd Ellis.
Vic McConnell, number 83, is a wide receiver. You can't see him. He'd be off the top of your screen, but his first appearance in the ball game for the Gamecocks. Ellis on the roll, and Ellis goes down and almost lost the football. Ellis started to bobble the ball as he went down.
Rayotis Perkins with good penetration from defensive left tackle. The key to stopping the option is that one of your men on the line of scrimmage has to rise up and put pressure on the quarterback. Perkins got through that time and did the job against Todd Ellis.
Theoretically, if the quarterback reads it right, there should be no way to stop it. It doesn't always work that way.
Awful lot of reads out there.
That's right. Third down and 4. Sterling Sharpe in motion. Ellis rolling left and throws over the middle. He's got his man for a completion and a first down. Sterling Sharpe at the 23-yard line of Virginia. And the tackle made by number 25 for the Cavaliers.
Take a look at it from the defensive side of things. This play against good pressure would normally be a tight end delay in your basic offensive setup. But of course, with South Carolina's run and shoot, your wingbacks end up becoming like tight ends. Sharpe did a nice job.
That's sophomore Jones Andrews out of Columbia now, wide receiver to the near side of the field. And here comes Harton Brown in his first carry into the 12-yard line. Harton Brown, a sophomore out of Red Springs, South Carolina. Sean Scott with the tackle.
They can go from the run and shoot or the wishbone. It's the wishbone this time with blockers in front of him. Hardin Brown doing a good job of stepping through some traffic, picking up solid yardage for the Gamecocks, close enough to bring the chains all the way across the field for our first measurement of the 86 season.
We have 9:14 to go in the second period. 13-13 the score. Gary Sparber with Jack Corrigan, and we're extremely happy to have you with us on our initial telecast of the ACC season.
Joe Morrison's Gamecock football program prides itself on an awful lot of work in the weight room in the off-season. And you see that the measurement is long enough, and it's a first down for South Carolina. And it appears here in the second period on the line of scrimmage, the physical strength of South Carolina is starting to take control of the game.
Also, Virginia is very thin offensively. They do not have very many reserves, and that will hurt them in the long run as well. Harold Green is the lone setback in the run and shoot. Sterling Sharpe in motion. First down. Todd Ellis optioning. Fumble on the pitch out. And it is recovered by Virginia. Cavaliers will have it first down. Ray Savage, the linebacker, came up with it for the Cavaliers, and South Carolina blows a golden opportunity.
Been trading mistakes here in the second period. The run and shoot's a high-octane offense. It's a high-risk offense, much like the wishbone. Harold Green just took his eye off the pitch because he saw Ray Savage laying there waiting for him. And when Green didn't have his eye on the pitch and he fumbled it, big mistake for South Carolina. You can't blame Todd Ellis. He correctly executed the play.
Kevin Morgan, the tailback, Derwin Griggs, the fullback, and Don Majkowski, of course, the quarterback on first down from the 14-yard line. Kevin Morgan trying to get to the outside, in trouble. Root Beer Johnson got him around the ankles. Johnson is an exciting player. He is a transfer from Navarro Junior College. He makes big plays, and sometimes he overcommits and makes mistakes. That time, he made the big play.
Johnson stepping up to make the play indeed. And as I mentioned, when South Carolina had the ball, Gary, the Gamecocks are starting to win the battle on the line of scrimmage.
Second down, a little bit better than 11. Majkowski keeps the football. He throws it complete to his tight end, Joel Dempsey, up at the 30-yard line, and he will have a first down. Nice throw by Majkowski.
That's a very nice play because you really get the defense to overcommit playing good sound football. See, they bite on the fake, then they bite on the rollout, and then you throw backside, and Dempsey's wide open. You take advantage of the aggressive tendencies of defensive players with that kind of play.
Joel Dempsey has been Dr. Jekyll as the receiver and Mr. Hyde as the punter in this ballgame so far.
He says, let's move the ball so I don't have to kick it again.
That's right. Majkowski on play action. Going long, look at John Ford wide open. He may be gone. 30, 20. John Ford, touchdown, Virginia.
Robert Robinson got caught in what he thought was too deep coverage. He had man coverage on that side. He let Ford go because he thought there was a safety man out there. You put John Ford in the open field, you can look up at the scoreboard because the numbers are going to change.
70-yard touchdown pass from Don Majkowski to John Ford. They were proud of Robert Robinson last week because he'd only gotten beat once the entire game by Vinny Testaverde in that great Miami passing game, but he got beat by John Ford there. Maurizio Manca to kick the extra point. CQ's to hold. That one got inside the right upright. It is 20-13. Virginia on top by 7. We have not been lacking for excitement in this one. 7:40 to go, first half. Virginia 20, South Carolina 13, and we'll be back with more ACC football after this.
Did you see this story about Social Security?
I'm not worried.
And that Medicare business, that doesn't worry you?
Nope.
The cost of living doesn't worry you either, I'll bet. Hey, let me ask you something. How come I'm worried and you're not?
I have a Jefferson Standard agent. Let him worry.
Jefferson Standard. Our business is your future.
I used to do my own worry. Now, I'm too busy.
When you buy a Nissan 300ZX, you buy a legend, a tradition of many Z cars, each meticulously made to the tolerance of an expensive watch. You buy a racing heritage unmatched by any car in its class. But most of all, when you buy the awesome 300ZX, you buy Nissan, America's #1 selling import car. The name is Nissan.
Let's look at the go-ahead touchdown for the Cavaliers from the end zone. It's a streak pattern up the left sidelines, and either the quarterback, Robert Robinson, missed the coverage, thinking there was a safety man back there, or Ken Sally, the free safety, did not rotate over to the sidelines. Whatever the problem was, Virginia took advantage of it and put 7 points up on the board.
John Ford's numbers there, and Don Majkowski's numbers looking better now also. He's 7 for 17 for 156 yards passing. Jeff Gaffney will kick off this time against whatever wind there is, and it's not nearly as good a kickoff. In fact, it may go out of bounds. It does. Raynard Brown watches it do so, and he'll kick it off now from the 30-yard line. You can't afford penalties now on the kickoffs with the new rule. From the 30-yard line, you could really get a dangerous return.
Kevin hit that one a little more like the soccer ball that he banged around for 4 years for Virginia.
You can say anything you like about this ball game. We've had a lot of mistakes. We've had a lot of exciting plays. It has been fun.
It's a very typical opening ball game, and in many respects, you still have to view South Carolina as working the bugs out because they've got the new offense this year as well as a number of new players. So you're going to get an awful lot of action going back and forth, and we have 33 points up on the board already with half of the second period yet to be played. Virginia with a 20-13 lead.
And this is a big ball game for South Carolina, and it sounds like a trite expression, but in the next 3 weeks after Western Carolina, they've got Georgia and they've got Nebraska. So they would like to win here. Gaffney's kick is much better this time. Raynard Brown at the 7. There's a hole right up the middle, 30, 35, and finally written down out across the 40-yard line by Kevin Cook.
You could see that seam developing as the ball was coming down towards Raynard Brown. Let's look at it again. They tried to kick to one side. They want to shorten the field, force South Carolina into 1/3 of the field. Unfortunately, they didn't do a very good job of kick coverage from hash mark the sideline, and Raynard Brown with a good return for the Gamecocks.
Harris Raynard to the near side of the field. Ryan Buffet, Danny Smith to the far side. That's Kevin White in motion. He's from Charlotte, North Carolina. Anthony Smith, the lone setback. Ellis rolling out in a world of trouble, and this is almost picked off. And oh, did they miss an opportunity? Sean Scott had nothing but artificial turf, and a very worried Anthony Smith between him and the goal line.
That is the first time on first down this afternoon that South Carolina has thrown the football. Virginia guessed right. Great pressure by Craig Zimmer forces Ellis to make a bad pass, and Sean Scott had a convoy of blockers. He just forgot one thing, to catch the football.
It's a big thing, though. 44-yard line. Second down and 10, just a mere incompletion, and Todd Ellis will take that in that situation. Again, Kevin White in motion. Ellis straight back. Good protection on the screen this time to the near side. Anthony Smith inside Virginia territory at the 46-yard line. Number 42, Jim Sanford, brought him down. He's a redshirt freshman from Elmira, New York.
Not as much of a screen as it's just a clear-out pattern. They dump the ball off. There's one blocker out in front of them. Boy, very close to a clip on Ryan Jackson.
You're being kind. Ryan Buffet, yeah, with the block from behind.
Ryan Jackson jumped up and started looking for an official after the play and said, hey, that guy clipped me. They didn't see it, or he didn't do it.
On first down, right into the line goes Anthony Smith to about the 42. Delano Tyler, the linebacker, sophomore out of Newport News, and he is basically a run stuffer, and that's what he did there.
Virginia has done a good job of negating the vertical portion of South Carolina's passing offense. When Ellis has been successful throwing the ball, it has been the dumps and the little flip passes to the sidelines. They've not been able to go deep effectively yet.
You saw the time moving down on 6 minutes in the first half. This time the option, Kevin White. Well covered. Kevin Gould up from the secondary. He is one of the few players on that Virginia defense with experience, and he smelled that one out.
Dennis Fields also came flying up to make the hit. once you force the quarterback to pitch in the option, you've got to have support from your secondary people to be able to make the stop on a back in the open field. Dennis Fields with a good effort there.
It's 20-13. Virginia, South Carolina with a ball possession down. 3rd and 2 from the 38-yard line of the Cavaliers. Hardin Brown in motion this time. Ellis with the pitch. Anthony Smith brought down. Jim Sanford, the linebacker, freshman redshirt, made the play.
I'll tell you who made the play. He won't get credit for any tackle whatsoever. Sean Scott took on the blocker on the outside, forced the ball back to the inside. Sanford and Rayotis Perkins were there with a 1-2 knockout.
Big play for the Cavaliers.
I'm really impressed with Sean Scott. He's not very big, but he just does all the things so well fundamentally.
He's in the right place at the right time on most plays.
That's a smart football player.
Beam to kick again. And this one may make the end zone. It does. Pretty close, but it cut the corner of the end zone, and it will be a touchback. And Virginia will have it at their 20 with 4 minutes and 53 seconds to go in the first half, and Virginia leading it by the score of 20-13. There you see part of the crowd here at Scott Stadium, and they have to be very happy with what they've seen. So Virginia on top by 7, and the Cavaliers will have the football as we wind down the first half, and we'll be back with more ACC football after this.
You really want to appreciate the Coors difference. Less heavy, easy drinking. Try spending some time doing this. Oh, yeah. Coors is the one.
Wachovia has the loan to keep your business on the move. Wachovia, where the money's coming from. Wachovia has the loan when that second home becomes first priority. Wachovia, where the money's coming from.
At the conclusion of today's game, we'll be selecting a Poland Most Valuable Player from each team. In addition to recognizing our 2 MVPs, Poland will donate a $500 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of both South Carolina and Virginia as part of the Poland Most Valuable Player Award Scholarship Program. And how come when they put that on the screen, I got to read something?
Got to keep your mind on the game, that's why.
4 minutes and 53 seconds to go. First half, Virginia on top by 7, 20-13.
Virginia wants to maintain some control of the clock right now. They'd be happy to go into the locker room with a 7-point lead. They don't want to give South Carolina another opportunity.
Kevin Morgan is in at the tailback right now. Derwin Griggs, the fullback. This is Morgan, and he's cut down by Root Beer Johnson. Up at about the 22, 23-yard line.
In previous seasons, Virginia would run the ball on first down 80, sometimes 85% of the time. This afternoon, a little bit more of a mix. There are 2 runs for every pass, but George Welsh has not been afraid to put the ball up on first down this afternoon.
Second down and 7, as you see. 4:25 to go now, first half. Majkowski swings it out to the near side of Kevin Morgan on a little screen up to the 30 and up across to the 32-yard line.
They'll have the first down, but Kevin Morgan will learn with more experience to keep this ball on the sidelines. He has some help out here. Very well set up screen. Majkowski sidearms the ball to Morgan. He's got 3 blockers in front of him and cuts back to where all the defense is. Kevin, use your people. Let them help you.
Now, if he could see it from up here.
Well, that's true, too. You always have better vision up here.
32-yard line. First and 10 for Virginia. Majkowski. This is Derwin Griggs up across the 35 to the 37-yard line, and they really like Griggs. I asked them, does Derwin Griggs have the same potential as Chris Warren? And I got a flat no, but he has great potential, and he really follows coaching.
He's one of those butterball status kind of guys in that he's not real tall, 5'11", and carries 220 pounds on the frame.
Second down and 5, 3:24 now to go. First half, 20-13 Virginia. The fake to Morgan. Majkowski on a roll, has all kinds of room, an easy first down, and up across midfield, still on the run, and finally at the 40-yard line, he is brought down.
Boy, did he fake out Ken Sally. Sally was coming up hard from his free safety position. He expected Majkowski to take the normal quarterback route, get some yardage, then go to the sideline. Watch it right here. Pulls the ball down, run into the sideline. Sally, whoops. Boy, that's just heads-up playing by the veteran quarterback. One of the good things about Majkowski, because of the option, he's not afraid of the contact.
Derek Little finally ran Majkowski down. On the fake, Majkowski to run again. Nice cut again to the 34-yard line. Boy, he left Willie McEntee standing there that time. Defensive backs or defenders for South Carolina going to be muttering to themselves in the defensive huddle about Majkowski.
He stepped around McEntee and Kenneth Robinson. Majkowski, the senior out of Depew, New York, up around Buffalo. Hey, they raise him tough up there, and he's taken some licks today and really hung in there well. I've been impressed with Majkowski thus far.
9 yards per carry. Second and 5. Chris Warren hasn't carried the ball in a while. Kenneth Robinson rides him down at the 30-yard line, very close to a first down, might be about a half-yard shy.
South Carolina went into their version of the Chicago Bears 46 with a lot of people up on the line of scrimmage, and they were sending linebackers, all except Robinson. It was fortunate that Robinson hung back, because Warren, had he been able to slip the linebacker, would have been gone.
1:46 to go, first half, 20-13, Virginia on top. Third down and about a yard to go for Virginia. Chris Warren came out.
Yeah, I was going to say both teams still have a lot of timeouts left, and Virginia's going to use one here, which is wise, because here they have third and short yardage. Not only do they want to maintain possession, but they want to put themselves in a situation where they can think about going for 6 now instead of settling for a field goal.
They felt their skilled players would have to win this ball game for them, and in the first half, that has been true, but they've also gotten quite a contribution from this young offensive line. Let's go down to the sidelines and see what's going on with our man on the field, Ben Hamlin.
Okay, as you know, Virginia had some problems with his punting earlier. Joel Dempsey will not be back to punt should they punt again. Fred Carter has been loosening up on the sideline, number 13. He'll take over the kicking duties, but I'm sure Virginia looking for a touchdown, a field goal at the very least off this possession, Gary.
Nice job, Ben, and I would suspect that Mr. Dempsey probably didn't argue too much on that decision.
He'd rather concentrate on his tight end duties.
And he has contributed at tight end.
Virginia now at the third and short yardage situation. One of the things they'll be discussing on the sidelines is, do we play action here and go for the 6, figuring we can come back on 4th down and pick up the half yard needed for the first down? Or do we pick up the first down now and then move ourselves down the field?
There's your score in time. Don Majkowski now 8 of 18 for 166 yards, but he has made some nice running plays, and he is the leader out there. I would venture to say he's the primary reason that a very young Virginia offense is moving as well as it is. There you see what we have coming up at halftime. Another in our Delta One for the Book series, the Jefferson Pilot scoreboard, and a profile of the University of Virginia. Ball possession down, third down, a yard.
Keep an eye on John Ford at the bottom of the screen if they're going to play action.
Instead, they give it to Morgan, who gets the first down. He is dragged down then by the linebacker, Kenneth Robinson.
They'll call 2 plays here because they will get the momentary... Nope, now they are going to huddle up. I thought they'd go right from the line of scrimmage because they'd get the brief timeout while they move the chains. But now the clock moving again with less than 1:25 to go here in the first half.
29 yards away from pay dirt, and a score here would look awfully good for Virginia, already leading by 7 points. Watch time Ford is in the slot.
Watch Ferguson, the backside tight end.
Majkowski on the give, and Morgan gets to about the 27-yard line. And once again, how many tackles does Kenneth Robinson have in this first half?
Well, Robinson, who was their team leader last year with 131 tackles, has certainly had his share here in the first half of this ball game. Some of the Virginia fans getting a little restless here as the Cavaliers let the clock wind down. They still have 2 timeouts remaining.
Mattioli to the near side, Ford to the far side. Majkowski swings it out to Morgan. It's a nice block to the 20. He may be gone. accelerates for a touchdown, and Virginia goes on top 26-13.
South Carolina blitzed. Virginia called the screen. Just a great play call.
They're mixing it up pretty good offensively.
I tell you what, George Wells, he's a sly fox. When we talked to him yesterday, you would have thought he was coaching the Little Sisters of the Poor. I mean, he said, we'll be lucky if we show up tomorrow. They're showing up here this afternoon, I tell you what.
Now Seacules will hold. Manco will kick. Looking to extend it to 14 points with only 33 seconds left to go in the half. And he does. Manca has been perfect, and Virginia has a 14-point lead. Let's look at the touchdown.
South Carolina has committed to the blitz. They're sending everybody but one linebacker. Virginia counters with the screen, and when the block was made by Paul Sirosinski, it was touchdown time for Kevin Morgan. When you throw a screen pass, you know you're going to get popped. Watch what happens to Majkowski. Hello. But fortunately, Don kept his feet this time so he could see the touchdown. Quarterbacks will tell you they don't see half the touchdowns they throw because they're flat on their back.
27-13, Virginia on top, just half a minute to go. Not very much time for South Carolina to work with. And I've got to be honest, coming into the game, I honestly thought Virginia would have a hard time moving the football and putting points on the board, at least early, but they got 27 points in the first half.
Well, when you start a season, I don't care how inexperienced the rest of your offensive people are. When you have an experienced, talented quarterback, you're going to do all right. And Don Majkowski has guided that offense in the first half, I'm sure beyond the expectations of most of the people in this stadium, but probably not Don Majkowski. He's a very confident young man.
And you know he's got the confidence of those young linemen. Gaffney to kick off. Has not done as well from this side of the field as from the other side. A very short kick, and at the 25-yard line, that is where the Gamecocks will take it. And I think it would be fair to say that Paul Shivers wanted no part of the run back.
Well, that was a deliberate move on the part of Virginia. They did not want to run back. And really, Gary, I think that might have been a deliberate move on Shivers' part. They'd rather have him fall down so the clock would stop than to have him run up for maybe 5 or 10 more yards, but run 6 or 7 precious more seconds off the clock.
Excellent point, Jack. Danny Smith to the far side, Ryan Buffet to the near side. Let's see what South Carolina will do with only half a minute to work with them, down by 14 points. They will run and shoot, that's what they'll do. Ellis trying to hit Sterling Sharpe, and trouble right there. Ray Savage, the linebacker, in position for the possible interception.
Well, that's 3 times now. Kevin Cook, Sean Scott, and Ray Savage have had a chance to pick off a Todd Ellis pass. Once it cost them for a touchdown. See what happens here, but in terms of the vertical pass offense, the deep throws upfield, South Carolina has not been successful.
Ellis 5 of 10 for 37 yards. Now 27 seconds left to go. Again, Ellis to throw. In trouble, screen. He overshot Anthony Smith. It'll be third down. At least that stops the clock.
Virginia in a basic prevent defense in this situation. Well, you know, you tell a lot of football fans, well, they're in a prevent defense, and they cringe because prevent defenses many times don't do what they are named to do.
They prevent victories sometimes.
But I wouldn't be surprised right now to have Virginia put a little more pressure on defensively because they might have enough time to get a playoff if they can stop the first down.
Anthony Smith, as the Gamecocks on 3rd and 10, decide to be a bit conservative. And you can't really blame them too much because they are down 14 points right now. And another score of any type would be disastrous for them. David Griggs on the stop for Virginia, and timeout called for by the Cavaliers now, who figure 13 seconds, maybe we can do something with that.
Well, with people like Chris Warren back to receive the punt, you never know what those people can do. You know, if they can get a return to, say, the Carolina 40 or 35-yard line, you have a chance with one of the Virginia kickers to try a long-range field goal. Gaffney has hit a 55-yarder in practice. Granted, he would be kicking into the wind, although for the moment the flag up on the standard is barely moving.
It's funny, the wind, according to our graphic earlier, and what we see on the field doesn't look like much, but the kicks have definitely been better from one side with the wind than they have been on the other against it.
From South Carolina's perspective here, they don't want to go into the locker room with any more than that 14-point deficit up on the board right now. So Scott Bain's responsibility here is not only to punt the ball far, but punt it in such a way that Warren will have a hard time fielding the ball.
Hang time would be a good idea here. Let his men get down there.
10 men on the line of scrimmage. Here comes Virginia.
Bain gets it off. Does have pretty good hang time. Warren will try it at the 30. Not fair catch. And that is where the Cavaliers will have it with 6 seconds left to go. And we'll see if Don Majkowski wants to try a Hail Mary. A 41-yard punt there by Bain.
Well, this is a definite no-lose situation for Virginia. You can get your quick people out there, spread out the field, let Majkowski air it out. Somebody falls down, you get a pass interference call. Who knows? You have a chance here.
Really, the Gamecocks have not stopped Virginia in this first half. When Virginia has been stymied, they've stymied themselves.
Both Carolina scores have come as the result of mistakes on the part of Virginia.
John Ford lines up deep in the offensive formation. Just as a safety man, the Cavaliers decide they're just going to run out the clock, and that's our first half. And an outstanding offensive first half, and the home crowd here at Scott Stadium. Well-deserved standing ovation for the Virginia Cavaliers, who leave the field leading 27-13, and I've got to believe feeling very good about things.
Outstanding 30 minutes of football for the Cavaliers. They negated what Todd Ellis wants to do offensively with South Carolina, while Don Majkowski has dominated the action at quarterback for Virginia.
So we are halfway through here at Scott Stadium. It is the homestanding Virginia Cavaliers 27, South Carolina 13. We'll be coming back with our halftime activities right after these words.
Atlantic Coast Conference football coming your way Saturday. This week, the Hokies of Virginia Tech venture into Death Valley to take on the Clemson Tigers. Watch the ACC stars shine as two veteran teams battle it out. Visiting coach Bill Dooley and his victory-hungry Hokies face Danny Ford's mighty Tigers in their home den. ACC football. Virginia Tech at Clemson. Don't miss it.
Another job interview, hotshot?
Jefferson Pilot Communications.
Don't they televise big sporting events?
Racing, football, basketball, and that's just JP Teleproductions. Jefferson Data Systems designs computer systems for broadcasters. And Co-Opportunities and Jefferson Pilot Retail Services help broadcasters develop larger advertising budgets.
Somebody's done their homework.
I want them to like me.
Well, they might, if your shoes matched.
Jefferson Pilot Communications is more than meets the eye.
What if there was a truck that looked like no other, had fuel injection, and more horsepower than any leading standard compact truck? More cargo space between the wheel wells where it counts the most, and 5.7 financing or $500 cash back. Well, consider it done. Nissan's hard bodies, the cure for the common truck. They're available now at your nearby Nissan dealer.
Welcome back to the Nissan Game of the Week, where at halftime, the Virginia Cavaliers surprisingly on top of South Carolina, 27-13. This is beautiful country up here in Charlottesville. Let's take a look at the campus of the University of Virginia.
When Thomas Jefferson designed the University of Virginia, he embodied the commitment to excellence in every detail. His creation is a constant reminder of that commitment, the commitment to excellence that continues. Today, UVA is a leader in the university race to be fully computerized. Installation of an integrated multi-million-dollar system has already begun. The system gives students and faculty high-speed access to information contained in the UVA computer network, national and even worldwide data banks. Dr. David Benjamin, UVA's Associate Provost for Research.
Full computerization will benefit the university in a number of ways. First, it will increase the productivity of our faculty, our students, and our staff. And second, it will integrate analyses and graphics into our classrooms. Third, faculty will be able to work on joint papers and research with colleagues not only in other UVA departments, but at other institutions.
The net result is a completely new learning environment in which the computer provides intellectual leverage for students and faculty. commitment to excellence, a University of Virginia tradition that continues.
A look at the University of Virginia. Halftime, Virginia leading South Carolina 27-13. Back after this word from your local ACC station.
Magic City Ford is the home of the free lifetime service guarantee. That means you can have your Ford, Mercury, Lincoln, or Ford light truck fixed by us. You pay once, and Magic City Ford will guarantee the work for as long as you own your vehicle. If it ever has to be fixed again, we'll fix it. Free. Free parts. Free labor. Come in now and ask about our free lifetime service guarantee. The next best thing to free car repairs. Magic City Ford. Just another way to come on by and feel the magic.
Day after day, year after year, longer than you can remember.
For savers, Cooperative Building and Loan has different certificates for different needs. You can choose your rate and choose your term. For checking, we have several choices too. Regular interest, money market, or investment rates. We're planning for your future and have been for longer than you can remember.
Cooperative Building and Loan.
Welcome back to Charlottesville, 27-13 at halftime. Virginia leading South Carolina. I'm Jack Corrigan along with Gary Sparber. And once again, we're happy to have Delta sponsor our One for the Books halftime segment. Gary, that's an important part of our telecast.
Jack, I've had the chance to work on that One for the Books for the past couple of years. It is really fun. We look at some of the exciting things that have happened in the ACC over the years.
We are going to take a look this afternoon at another significant aspect in ACC history. This afternoon, we're going to turn back the pages just a couple of years to 1984, when the University of Virginia Cavaliers culminated 30 years of athletic activity on the football field with a big victory in the Peach Bowl.
Delta, the airline of ACC country, is proud to bring you another ACC football One for the Books. Delta gets you there. In his third year at Virginia's helm, George Welsh had his Cavaliers at a surprisingly strong 7-2-2 and out to finish strong in the Peach Bowl against Purdue. The Boilermakers' latest in a long line of passing sensations was Jim Everett, but Virginia cornerback Ray Daly picked off an attempted bomb early to get the Cavaliers back on track. From there, Virginia went on a 10-play march, culminating in Howard Petty's 11-yard run to make it 7-0. Petty would carry 21 times for 114 yards on the day. After a regular season-ending loss to Maryland, the Cavaliers were back on track. Purdue struck back with a field goal and then caught Virginia's kickoff team napping with a daring onside kick recovery. A few plays later, Everett got the Big Ten Boilermakers into the end zone with a 23-yard strike to Steve Griffin, and Purdue had its first lead. From here, the teams rode a seesaw. First, Virginia regained the lead with a superb play fake and misdirection move by quarterback Don Majkowski, who flipped to a wide-open Geno Zimmerlink, and it was 14-10. But Everett was tough to contain, and he hit Jeff Price for 17 yards to put Purdue back on top 17-14 with just 2.5 minutes to play in the half. Virginia went for the lead at halftime, but instead, Majkowski's attempted pass to Zimmerlink was underthrown and picked off by Purdue's Kennedy Wilson, and all of a sudden the Boilermakers were threatening to take command at intermission. Jim Everett would finish the first half with 158 yards gained through the air, and when he hit Marty Scott for 12 yards to make it 24-14 at the midway point, George Welsh knew it would be a tough second-half climb. After an exchange of punts to start the second half, Majkowski connected with freshman John Ford for 30 yards to the Purdue 20. And 4 plays later, Majkowski snuck it over to pull within 3. Both defenses stiffened from here on, but early in the fourth period, Kenny Stadlin tied the game from 19 yards. And in what became a hard-nosed fourth period, the key play came when Purdue's Ray Wallace fumbled, and Virginia's Scott Matheson pounced on the mistake. Virginia got to the Purdue 1, but could not punch it in. So Welsh went back to Kenny Stadlin, and Stadlin hit again, this time from 22 yards out, and Virginia was up by 3. The Cavalier defense held, with Ray Daly's second interception capping the effort, and Virginia topped off its best season in 32 years with a come-from-behind Peach Bowl victory over Purdue, and certainly one for the books. This has been another ACC One for the Books, brought to you by Delta. Delta gets you there.
With the South Carolina Gamecock Marching Band entertaining for the crowd here at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville. We'll be back with more halftime activities right after this word from our sponsors.
Now's the time to vacation in Europe with Delta. We'll give you a free car for a week, a free hotel room for a night, and just $52 a night after that. We'll fly you to England, or France, or Germany, or Ireland. For prices in your city, call your travel agent. Europe at Delta.
You stepped up to a 35mm camera because you wanted to get serious about your photography. There, the image is on the film, but will it be on the print? It will if it's Eckerd's UltraLab 35 processing. UltraLab 35 examines each negative for color and contrast. Prints on high-gloss Kodak paper for incredible reproduction, and UltraLab prints are 30% larger. Be sure that the image you shoot is the image you get. UltraLab 35 from Eckerd, when you're serious about 35mm.
What is Jefferson Pilot? I don't know. What is it?
It's a breakdance done to the tune of one of our radio stations. It's a welcome check delivered by one of our insurance agents. It's Bill Martin's retirement home, made possible by our financial services. And it's the big game broadcast over one of our TV stations. Jefferson Pilot is many companies, all helping to put a brighter face on the future.
The Jefferson Pilot Scoreboard, brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Companies.
There is our score here at Scott Stadium, 27-13. The Cavaliers on top of the Gamecocks. Virginia's offense prolific here in the first half. They have moved almost at will. At halftime, North Carolina on top of the Citadel, 21-7. That one taking place in Chapel Hill. Good start for the Tar Heels. Second quarter, Vanderbilt making it tough for Alabama in the Southeast Conference. Bama only up 6-0 there. Rutgers 8-0 over Boston College. That's a halftime score. And let's check some baseball scores as well. San Francisco knocked off Montreal 8-4. That's last night, and the Giants trying to stay in the race in the National West, but they've got some catching up to do. St. Louis did knock off first place Houston, though, 8-5. That helps out the Giants and the Cincinnati Reds. And how about the Boston Red Sox? 12-2 winners they were over Minnesota, and the Red Sox now 5.5 in front of Toronto. The Blue Jays lost to Chicago by the score of 5-0. The Red Sox may just hold on. Let's check in with Jack Corrigan, who has a very special guest with him.
Thank you, Gary. It's my pleasure to introduce the Vice President of Marketing and Sales for Poland, Jim Serene. And Jim, Poland has gotten itself involved in ACC football by being the sponsor each week for our MVP awards. And we're going to talk about that for a minute, but I know as you and I were talking here before Gary sent it over to us, we were remarking on what a great first half of football we've seen.
We're really pleased, Jack. This is a great way for us to kick off the season, to be associated with the ACC and this kind of a ball game. We're really enjoying ourselves. Heck of a game.
As I mentioned, Poland this year is going to be the sponsor of our MVP awards, where each week we are going to select a player from each school to honor them and present scholarship money to their respective university. And Jim, what was the thinking behind Poland? Why did you people want to get involved in such an endeavor?
Jack, this year Poland has adopted a theme of America's chainsaw, because we are a chainsaw manufactured here in the United States and in the South. And what better way to get America's chainsaw kicked off than with the fine universities, the ACC, and the fine student bodies. And secondly, our growth and penetration has been great in this part of the country. And Poland, in some small way, wants to repay the wonderful people that have supported us over the years. And we can't think of a better way than to supporting the college athletes through the ACC. So we're real pleased to be associated, Jack. Really pleased.
And I would imagine, Jim, if we keep getting football games like we've had this afternoon, it's going to make it that much nicer.
It can only help all of us, Jack. It can only help all of us. We're tickled to be here.
Well, Jim, we want to thank you for stopping by and visiting with us, and we look forward to the association with Poland all season long on our ACC telecast. Back to you, Gary.
All right, thank you very much, Jack. And down on the field, our Ben Hamlin also has another special guest. No, not one of those that you're seeing on the screen right now, but Rudy Martzke, who very many of you, I'm sure, read in USA Today. Ben?
Thank you very much, Gary. And Rudy has graciously decided to spend a little time with us. And Rudy, first of all, I guess I have to ask you, are you surprised at the halftime score here?
I am somewhat surprised, Ben. Virginia is only about a 4-point favorite, and people weren't expecting that much from Virginia this year, but their offense has been tremendous. I was just in New York this past week and had a poll among some of the network analysts, and they come up with George Welch as one of the 3 or 4 best coaches in the country, so I think Virginia people ought to be proud of that.
What do you look for when you critique a football game as the TV sports writer for the USA Today?
I look for how the announcing team works well together, how much the play-by-play man sets up the analyst, and how much the production team works together so that if the announcers are talking about a certain player on the field, there is the picture of him. And then also in the second half, if there's a blowout, does the production able to keep the game interesting and keep the viewers tuned in?
Hey, quickly, if we can, one final question. This is the 3rd year of college football since deregulation. Is it better now for the fan, or was it better then?
It's much better now for the fan. He gets to see, let's say, 3 or 4 games at this time of day, a couple of games late in the afternoon, another couple of games at night. It's better for the networks because they don't lose the tons of money that they were losing before. It's better for, let's say, syndicators such as Jefferson Pilot because now they can get into the business. The only losers are the schools who don't get the money that they used to get.
Thank you very much, Rudy Martzke. We'll be looking forward to some of your columns in the USA Today. That's it from On the Field. Back upstairs to you, Gary.
All right. Nice job, Ben. Thank you very much. 27-13 is the score here at Scott Stadium. Virginia on top of South Carolina. We're coming back after these words from your local ACC stations.
Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions exclusive live coverage of the second half of Atlantic Coast Conference football is brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Company, helping to put a brighter face on the future. Delta, the airline of ACC country. Delta gets you there. Poland, America's chainsaw. First Wachovia, serving the financial needs of individuals and businesses in the Southeast and the nation. Nissan and your local Nissan dealer, offering low financing on new Nissan trucks.
At the conclusion of today's game, we will be selecting a Poland Most Valuable Player from each team. In addition to recognizing our 2 MVPs, Poland will donate a $500 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of both South Carolina and Virginia as part of the Poland Most Valuable Player Award Scholarship Program. There are the halftime statistics.
And you look at those halftime numbers, Gary, and you can see the total domination by the Virginia offense. They have more than doubled South Carolina's output, 378 yards of total offense to just 150 for South Carolina, and only 37 yards passing in the first half for Todd Ellis, while Don Majkowski went 9 for 19 for nearly 200 yards and threw a couple of touchdown passes. Great first half for the senior Virginia quarterback.
That number, 378 yards total offense in one half, that is almost staggering when you consider how young this Virginia offense is, especially the line.
And they held on to the football better than 5 minutes more than South Carolina. An aspect of the game that George Welsh always likes.
I don't think 37 yards is what the run and shoot had in mind either.
No.
There you see the Cavaliers making their way back onto the field. Leading 27-13. South Carolina will receive in the second half. They won the toss, you'll remember, and deferred their option so they could choose now, and they will take the football and they can use it down by a couple of touchdowns.
Well, this will be a key series right off the bat in the third quarter for South Carolina. They've got to start generating some kind of offense. The 2 touchdowns that South Carolina scored came as the result of Virginia errors. This was the touchdown run by Sterling Sharpe, which at the time made it a 6-6 ball game when Hagler, unbelievably for him, missed the extra point. Virginia then came back on top as Chris Warren with some beautiful open field running and then just turned on the juice. This made it a 13-6 ball game. Warren had a very fine first half as he ran the ball for 90 yards on just 6 carries.
You know, Jack, a number of players look good in the first half, but when Warren runs, the word thoroughbred comes to mind. He just looks like a tremendous football player.
He's got the good size to go along with the great speed. I mean, you're talking about a young man that's 6'2", 215 pounds with 4.5 speed. You let that loose in the secondary, and you've got some problems. This is the touchdown pass of 70 yards to John Ford. John had some problems catching the ball earlier in the game. You might have noticed there he cradled that ball into his chest. John was going to make sure he had that one. Perhaps blown coverage by South Carolina there. Give credit to Majkowski for exploiting an area of weakness, at least on that play, for the Gamecocks.
Virginia will kick off leading by 2 touchdowns. Jeff Gaffney has been doing the honors. We mentioned to you in the first half that Maurizio Manca is handling the place kicking duties, and he's done that perfectly in the first half with 2 field goals and all his extra points. And Jeff Gaffney will be kicking to that pair of receivers, Raynard Brown to the left of your screen and Sterling Sharpe to the right. Line drive kick. Brown has to retreat to the end zone. That one fooled him, sailed on him a little bit at the end, and it turns out to be a touchback. And with a 35-yard line as the kickoff point, you've got to feel pretty good if you put him on the 20-yard line. 27-13 as we get going now in the third period.
And let's take a look at what South Carolina will do on first down. They were very run-conscious in the first half. The few times they tried to throw the ball on first down, they had problems with it. Todd Ellis is really in need of a better 30 minutes than he had in the first 2 quarters of action.
Sterling Sharpe and Raynard Brown are the wingbacks. Anthony Smith is the lone setback. Ellis optioning pitches to Smith. Smith cuts outside of a pretty good block right there and is taken out of bounds. The block was by the wide receiver, Danny Smith. He used it well and got out close to a first down.
Well, Danny Smith is a converted tight end, so you're talking about a wide receiver with 215 pounds on his frame. And they get Anthony Smith out into the flat. Better job that time by South Carolina to cut off the linebacker pursuit. You might have seen number 41, Delano Tyler, get chopped down. That enabled Smith to turn the corner before Kevin Cook made the stop.
There's Anthony Smith. They give to Smith, and Smith across the 35, across the 40. A stiff arm gets him out to midfield. Boy, he put that stiff on right to the helmet of Kevin Cook.
Well, South Carolina taking a page out of the Virginia playbook as they take it to the short side. Good close down block by the left tackle for South Carolina, Curtis Hill. That enabled Smith to get it out into the secondary.
South Carolina on the move. They did not have very many sustained drives. They had some big plays in the first half, but they're moving now very early in the third period. They come out in the wishbone, about the 3rd or 4th time they've shown this formation in the game. They pitch it to Raynard Brown with Anthony Smith leading the way. A crunching block by Smith, and Brown cut inside of it for about 4 yards.
It almost appears right here, Gary, that Joe Morrison has decided, let's get real simple. Let's run the football. Let's take the pressure off of our young quarterback. Let's pound a little bit because we've got some size. Raynard Brown gets it upfield. Sean Scott, one of the people to trip him up, along with Kevin Gould.
2nd down and 6. Sharpe is the wing back to the far side. Raynard Brown to the near side. Todd Ellis from Greensboro Page calling the signals. Anthony Smith right up the middle. Good, powerful run across the first down marker. That's what you like to see a big back do for you. And he finally went down in the hands of number 61, Billy Keys, a sophomore out of Washington, D.C. Nice run.
That was an audible at the line of scrimmage by Ellis. He saw the Virginia defense spread out. See the hole in the middle of the field? Virginia was sideline conscious that time. Ellis read the defense, checked off to the play up the middle. Smith gets the yardage. Billy Keys was there, but not before he had picked up another first down.
Danny Smith to the bottom of your screen. Ryan Bethea to the top of the pitch out. Anthony Smith, the workhorse on this drive, and Sean Scott just pulled him down at the 40. Ray Savage there as well.
Ray Savage scraping from his linebacker position. Watch the action off the ball. Griggs pushed it upfield, and Savage was there along with Rayotis Perkins. That time, Virginia guessed right defensively and stopped South Carolina.
No gain on the play, 2nd down and 10.
Don't you love a linebacker with a last name of Savage? How appropriate.
And he's got speed also. Todd Ellis, again Anthony Smith, not much that time, right into the heart of that Virginia defense, and a good job by number 91 for Virginia, Judd Ruff, sophomore out of Worthington, Ohio, a 241-pounder.
So now the conservative play calling of South Carolina has put them into a little bit of a bind. It's 3rd and long yardage. Now you've got to come up with something different. I think we got to expect Ellis to put his first pass up here in the second half. But let's look for a little dump pass or maybe even a screen, although they line up 3 receivers to his left.
First time we've seen that. Now Sharpe goes in motion to balance out the formation. Ellis rolling, had to stop his roll, throws, and a nice catch by Ryan Buffet. Buffet breaks loose, he may score to the 5 and to the 3-yard line. Ryan Buffet. He's a sophomore out of Columbia, South Carolina, and he's another skilled position player in this ballgame with tremendous natural talent and potential, and he sets the Gamecocks up with a 1st and goal.
Ellis rolls to his left, comes back to the right, throws a BB to Ryan Buffet, who made a great catch, and then he made a good move as Kevin Cook overran the play, and Buffet very nearly put it in the end zone.
Big play for the Gamecocks. 1st down and goal. They're in the wishbone once again. This is Raynard Brown cutting inside for a touchdown, South Carolina, and the Gamecocks are right back in the ballgame. 27-19 with the extra point to come.
Very impressive 80-yard drive in just over 3 minutes.
You said it very early in the drive, Jack. They just went to bread and butter football.
Well, we talked early in the ball game, Gary. You have got a very strong physical football team in South Carolina. If you take advantage of that size and strength and bang away at people, sometimes you get too cute for your own good. And Joe Morrison said, hey, let's go basic. It paid off.
Scott Hagler had his 82 extra point streak in a row broken earlier in this game. He hits that one, though, and the Gamecocks are within 7 points.
This is just power football out of the wishbone. Look at South Carolina blow Virginia off the line of scrimmage. Sean Scott was the first man to make contact, and he was 3.5 yards downfield.
At the very least, South Carolina gave the Wahoos something to think about on that drive. 27-13 Virginia, and we'll be back after these words.
Atlantic Coast Conference football coming your way Saturday. This week, the Hokies of Virginia Tech venture into Death Valley to take on the Clemson Tigers. Watch the ACC stars shine as 2 veteran teams battle it out. Visiting coach Bill Dooley and his victory-hungry Hokies face Danny Ford's mighty Tigers in their home den. ACC football. Virginia Tech at Clemson. Don't miss it.
To make chili as good as my ma's, you need Italian tomatoes, Mexican beans, and my ma in the kitchen. How's it going, Ma? Such a kitchen. She's great. Knows just how hot I like it, and the tall cold one I like with it. Natural Light, the beer with the taste for food. Ah, this is the life. Get off the table.
Yeah, all natural, less filling. It's Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch.
Put a coaster under the beer.
Wachovia has the loan when that second home becomes first priority. Wachovia, where the money's coming from. Wachovia has the loan to give your home a little elbow room. Wachovia, where the money's coming from.
Early in the third quarter, Virginia leading South Carolina by just 7 points now after an 80-yard drive by the Gamecocks. It took 8 plays in just over 3 minutes.
Scott Hagler will kick off from the 35-yard line. Again, that new rule in college football this year. We don't want to belabor it, but that's why they're on the 35. Chris Warren is the man Virginia would like to have handle the ball. There he is. Line drive kick. This is Keith Mattioli fumbling it around, and Warren picks it up at the 9. Up to the, no, this is Finkelstein at the 20, and Finkelstein up to the 27-yard line.
I'll tell you what, it was a break for Virginia that Mattioli did not handle that kickoff because he had a knee down, and had he corralled that kickoff, Virginia would have been deep in their own territory. In the first half, Virginia did a pretty good job of mixing up their play calling on first down, although by the end of the first half, it was still 3 runs to every pass on their first down play, but they've been mixing it up pretty well.
Chris Warren is the tailback. Matt Toland is the fullback. 2 wide receivers, as you see, to the far side. Warren does not have a whole lot of room and really does well to get back to the line of scrimmage. Kenneth Robinson, excuse me, Jack.
Virginia needs to reassert themselves on the line of scrimmage here on this drive. They dominated the line in the first half. South Carolina comes out on their first possession and says, we're ready to play some football. Are you?
2nd down and 9. That's Ford in motion. Majkowski with the pitch to Warren. Trying to see if he has any room. He was slowed up by Chris Major and gets out of bounds after a gain of only a yard. Good penetration by Major that time.
Major makes the play because Virginia was winning the battle in the trenches, but Major forced Warren to spread wide to the sideline, and by that point, South Carolina's pursuit was able to help out and stop Warren after a minimal gain.
Over 5,000 fans made the trip up from Columbia to cheer on their Gamecocks, and slowly but surely the Gamecocks are turning this thing around in the third quarter. Here's a big play. 3rd down and 10, Majkowski to throw. Protection breaking down, Majkowski in trouble.
Holding.
Back at his 20 and hit hard, and down goes Majkowski, a holding call on top of it. And one way or another, the Gamecocks will get the football. David Root Beer Johnson with a tackle for the Gamecocks.
Well, this was a no-lose situation for South Carolina with the holding penalty ending any hopes for positive yards for Virginia to begin with. Carolina says, well, we'll take the 10 yards by dumping the quarterback, and that way we won't lose the down.
On the offense, it's decline, 4th down.
Against the Cavaliers.
Majkowski steps up against the pressure. He is flushed out of the pocket by the nose man, Tommy Chaikin. Shed digs the linebacker, forces him back inside where David Johnson says, how do you do?
Well, Dempsey will punt once again. He has really had his problems. 2 kicks for 11.5 yards.
10 men on the line of scrimmage. Carolina is coming.
And they got there. I don't know if they blocked it. It's a poor kick again out to about the 35. It takes a nice bounce for South Carolina. They did get a piece of the ball, and it dies at the 45-yard line. But that point, you don't really blame on Dempsey. The pressure was really there.
Well, had they not gotten a piece of the ball, you would have had roughing the kicker because Dempsey really got waffled. But South Carolina taking advantage again of the Virginia kicking game.
27-20 Virginia on top. We'll be back after this word from your local ACC stations.
Strike black gold. Now save up to $3 on Texaco's Haviland Supreme Motor Oil. On special sale at these stores and participating Texaco retailers.
All of us have mountains to climb and obstacles to overcome. For people with multiple sclerosis, the challenge in life is even greater than for most, for it strikes young adults in the prime of their lives. Today, multiple sclerosis is incurable, but with your support, we are incurably optimistic about tomorrow.
Everywhere you look, U.S. savings bonds are surprising people. Did you know that bonds earn market-based interest rates like money market accounts, so you're guaranteed a competitive return? And did you know that bonds sell for as little as $25, and that you don't pay state or local income taxes on the interest you earn? For more information, call 1-800-US-BONDS. You'll be surprised, too. People are buying bonds everywhere you look.
South Carolina, again, giving problems to the Virginia kicking game. A lot of pressure coming on and flying through to get a piece of that football of Joel Dempsey's kick was number 28 for South Carolina, who we don't have on the program. Isn't that the way it is?
We almost saw his name. Well, he turns around. I couldn't get it. Starts with a G. That's about all we can tell. First down from the 44-yard line of Virginia. Gamecocks have really turned things around in a hurry. Here's Anthony Smith, and Smith to the 40-yard line. Now, Harold Green really looked good in the first half, but Smith giving them the power.
Well, Smith's giving them the power, and also Green coughed up a fumble, had some problems catching the football and running with the football. When he hung on to it, he did a super job. But again, Joe Morrison deciding, hey, I want to get down to basics, and I'll go with my power runner and maintain possession of the ball.
Second down 6. Anthony Smith has 54 yards. They're in the wishbone this time. Pitch out to Raynard Brown, and Brown is tripped up by Kevin Gould in the backfield.
Well, when you go to the wishbone, you can close down the defense. And Kevin Gould, the linebacker, with no wide receiver to his side, has to play the hard corner. By that you mean the quarterback has to step up on the line of scrimmage and be ready to attack any running play that comes wide. Gould did a good job.
Here is a big play for the Virginia defense. They've been abused a little bit here in this third period. 9.5 to go. 27-20 Virginia. And the Gamecocks on a ball possession down. Now on the run and shoot. Ellis to throw. Unloads and almost intercepted.
They wanted to run a screen on the near sideline with Sterling Sharpe. Two things happened well for Virginia that time. Edgar Davis put pressure on Todd Ellis. And then on the near sideline, Sterling Sharpe was well covered.
Sean Scott, had he been a step closer to the quarterback, might have had a shot at the interception. So Boehm to kick again. And this one has some pretty good hang time on it. They will let it drop, and it gets out of bounds at the 1. I think, let's see where they mark it. Upfield a bit. It hit at the 1 inbounds, and they'll say across the sideline at the 7-yard line. Not a bad kick for Mr. Boehm. Boehm averaged only 34 yards a kick last week, but he got off to a poor start in the first half and came on, and he has really done the job today.
Well, right now, in terms of special teamwork, South Carolina's starting to take control. That's like a great sandwich. I mean, he hit that ball on a 1-yard line and backed it up to about the 6. I'd take that for my golf game. Run it right by the flag. I can never do that. Scott Boehm did it quite well, and Virginia's in a hole.
I'm only not commenting because I don't have a golf game. 7-yard line. First down and 10 for the Cavaliers. Majkowski, the quarterback, has gone all the way. And the give straight up the middle for Chris Warren, I believe. Wait until they unfoul. No, Pat Tolan carried the football.
Pat Tolan, 32 carries.
Take a look at the scoreboard again here this afternoon. North Carolina's Tar Heels opening the season at home, and Citadel, as you mentioned, Gary, can give people problems in opening ball games. The Heels on top by a couple of touchdowns. That's in the third period.
They got a little bit better than 2 yards, so it's second and a long 7. John Ford starts in motion. This is Warren with a cutback up to the 12.
Virginia's tailbacks operate in an option style of running. They get the ball at least 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage, or they hope to be in that 5 to 7 yard range, and then let him find daylight. Unfortunately, when you're deep in your own territory and the defense is bunched together, you just got to take what you can get.
Third down and 4. Virginia must get those 4 yards or kick it from very deep. Fake to Warren, Majkowski on the roll. In trouble. Majkowski eludes the pressure and goes out of bounds at the 11-yard line. He lost a couple, and Virginia will kick it from the shadow of their goalpost.
Majkowski wanted to roll to his right and throw back to Kevin Ferguson, his tight end over the middle. The South Carolina pressure, led by David Johnson, just did not allow him to do that.
Now, Virginia's punting game has not been what you would call spectacular so far, and a lot of pressure on Joel Dempsey here, kicking from his end zone with South Carolina within a touchdown and having the momentum.
Sterling Sharpe. He's backed up a few more yards, Gary. He's been kicking from about 12. He's 14 right now.
Sterling Sharpe waiting on the kick. This is a better kick, and the crowd really lets Dempsey have the Bronx cheer. Sterling Sharpe to midfield. Sharpe with a nice move to the 46, and really only half a Bronx cheer. I think part of that was a very emphatic thank you to Mr. Dempsey for coming through.
Well, I had been remarking to the people down in the truck during our last break that Dempsey was having problems. They backed him up. He got a better job this time.
It is 27-20, Virginia over South Carolina. We'll be back.
Are you sure? Yes. Really? Yes. It's Yes Month at Nissan, and your Nissan dealer's making great deals on new trucks. He's saying yes to 5.7 Nissan-sponsored financing, so you could save up to $829 on our lowest sticker-priced regular bed, up to $1,980 on this King Cab SE 4x4 with V6 power. Yes. Or save with $500 cash back from Nissan. So see your Nissan dealer, because he's going to say yes. The name is Nissan.
One reason the cost of your company's group benefit plan may be so hard to contain is because it assumes everyone in the group is the same. But people are different, and so is the coverage they need. That's why Pilot Life developed a Flex Advantage benefit plan. Because of its flexibility, Flex Advantage can help contain costs without limiting benefits, and your people get more freedom to choose the benefits they need. Flex Advantage, another example of good sound thinking that works from Pilot Life.
7 minutes and 29 seconds to go, third period. Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions, ECC football, and South Carolina trailing Virginia by 7, but the Gamecocks do have the momentum as they come up to the line of scrimmage.
Great field position here in the third period. The Gamecocks have to take advantage of it.
Harold Green is back in as the lone setback, replacing Anthony Smith. Ellis to throw. Fires to the sideline to Ryan Buffet, and Buffet, I think, caught it inbounds. Yes, he did. 43-yard line. Make it the 37-yard line. Gain of about 9.
Watch Todd Ellis take a face full of Rayotis Perkins, but still get this football off, and Buffet running a nice curl out pattern on the sidelines, kept his feet in bounds.
The thing you got to remember about Todd Ellis, this is only his second game of his redshirt freshman year. Sterling Sharpe in motion. Harold Green right up the middle, and number 98, David Griggs, brought him down. Close to the first down.
Well, one area of success this afternoon for Virginia, as you look at that defensive unit of George Welsh's Cavaliers, is that they have, for the most part, prevented the big play guys like Sterling Sharpe, like Danny Smith, like Ryan Buffet from seizing control of the game.
They did not get the first down. Third and less than 1. They line up in the wishbone with Harold Green, the up back. They pitch it to Raynard Brown, and he got the first down, I think. Maybe not. Ray Savage made the stop. Maybe not. Let's see where they mark it. The Cavaliers think they've stopped them, but where he stretched out the football, it will be close. Don Bryant also in on the stop, and we may have a measurement for this. Yes, we will.
Ray Savage was a high school All-American at Warwick down in Newport News, Virginia. And I mean to tell you, that young man is educating himself to the ways of college football very quickly. He's been impressive in that linebacking position.
They stretch it out. Just that much. Well, fourth down.
And they're in 4-down territory.
Yeah, I really think so. I really think so. No reason not to go for it here.
You're into the wind. A field goal would be more than 50-some yards. You want to establish right here that, hey, we need inches. We're going to get them.
And really, the way the Gamecocks have played in this third period, you believe they will get them. They have 49 yards rushing in the third quarter. Virginia has 0. Here they come. 4th and inches. In the wishbone again. Green the up back. Quarterback sneak. Ellis bobbled it, but I think he got the first down. Bit of a scary situation as the ball popped up for a moment, but I believe Ellis did get the first down on the offensive surge. Yep, he did.
Well, Ellis did a good job here of stepping around. Let's go down to the sidelines of Ben Hamlin.
Okay, Gary, the Gamecocks a lot happier at the start of the second half, scoring that touchdown to move within 7 of Virginia. They're driving 1st and 10 on the 35, so good news. Back upstairs, guys.
Thank you, Ben. 35-yard line of Virginia. The Gamecocks have it as Sharpe comes in motion. Ellis retreats. He has Sharpe all alone at the 37 and Sharpe to the 32 before he's taken out of bounds. A minimal gain of 3 yards on the play, but Keys was barreling in on Ellis, who didn't have a lot of time to make a decision.
Let's take an isolated look at Sterling Sharpe. He comes in motion. This is basically a safety valve play. You hope the defense drops off, creates some space for Sterling Sharpe, and you let him do his athletic thing. But I tell you what, Kevin Gould, pretty fair cornerback there. One of the tri-captains for Virginia, made a nice play.
One of the reasons cornerback is such a difficult position. You're isolated on their best players. 2nd and 7. Harold Green right up the middle to the 28-yard line of the Cavaliers. He'll be 3 yards shy of a first down, and it will be a ball possession 3rd down. Just Lageman on the tackle.
This is almost the reverse, Gary, of the first quarter, in which South Carolina barely had possession of the football at all, and Virginia moved up and down the field and scored a couple of field goals. Now the situation has changed. Joe Morrison's club is dominating the action, but to this point have just scored the 7 points here in period 3.
Third down, less than 4. The option, Ellis with a lot of room, 20-yard line outside of the 10-yard line, and finally dragged down at about the 7 by Mike Petit.
We have not seen Todd Ellis run the football that much this afternoon. He has been content to pitch it in the option. This time, Virginia closed down on the fake. Just a good play fake. Puts Ellis into the secondary. He steps around Cook. And finally, Mike Petit runs him down, but it's 1st and goal for the Gamecocks.
Not bad poise for a guy playing the second game of his freshman year. 23-yard gain for Todd Ellis. 1st and goal again on the option. This time the pitch out. Brown in a heap of trouble. He was triple teamed. Mike Petit was there. Sean Scott with the initial hit, and Jeff Lageman there to clean up.
That almost looked like a Canadian football play. Raynard Brown went into motion very late on the play, and then ends up being the option man. Todd Ellis says, hey, I see all these orange jerseys. Good luck to you, Raynard.
It looked like Raynard was saying, maybe I can throw the ball. Wait a minute, that's not what we have planned on this play.
I'm sure in his mind, when he saw that pitch coming, he was saying, thanks a lot, guy. You didn't help me here.
2nd down and goal from outside the 10-yard line now. And Sterling Sharpe in motion. Ellis optioning, pitch out, Harold Green. Nice cut back, and Green with a nice job to get down to the 3-yard line. Rayotis Perkins covers up with Mike Petit, but that was a nice cutback.
Sometimes you can have the defense you want to stop the offensive play selected, but you just can't stop great athletic ability. Virginia was in position, but when Green cut back and broke through some tackles there, Billy Keys and Jeff Lageman finally wrestled him down. But that was some good running against the grain by Harold Green.
One of the key plays of the football game. 3rd and goal from the 4. That's Raynard Brown in motion. They give it to Green, who's to the 1. And the way the game is going at this stage, I say you go for it.
Well, I'm going to differ with you. I'm going to kick the field goal here. Let's see what Joe Morrison says.
Well, you're down 7 points. You're controlling the line of scrimmage, and if you don't make it, you leave them on the 1-yard line.
Well, my feeling is you kick the field goal, you're within 4 points, and since you're controlling the game, you get the ball back. Your next score puts you into the lead. But you're apparently of the same thinking as Joe Morrison, because he's going to go for it.
That doesn't mean right, just means of the same thinking. Harold Green is the setback. Brown in motion. Harold Green. You see, it doesn't mean right. It just means along the same thinking lines because they did not make it.
Freshman linebacker Ray Savage stepped up and stuffed him.
Not all bad because they leave Virginia inside the 1-yard line, but still a lot for the Wahoo fans to cheer about.
3rd quarter, I'm of the feeling you take the points anytime.
But let's see how it works out.
That's right. Now the South Carolina defense has got to dig in and pick up their offensive teammates.
It is Virginia 27, South Carolina 20. We'll be back after these words from your local ACC stations.
When you want the ultimate in sweats, come to CMT Sporting Goods. CMT carries pro sweatshirts and pants by Russell Athletic. Russell Athletic makes the sweats that are used as practice wear by college, pro, and high school teams all over the country. And they are for the serious athlete who demands the best. Come to CMT Sporting Goods and mix and match. Separate pants and shirts in a variety of colors. Get them silk screened or plain. Deluxe premium weight sweatshirts and pants by Russell Athletic. Available at CMT Sporting Goods today.
You know, S&K has some great buys on menswear for fall, like this English Manor corduroy coat for only $59.95. And wool blend slacks and wool blend sweaters are both just $24.99 each. Plus, S&K has knit ties and your all-time favorite Oxford cloth dress shirts.
Hey, dummy, sit down!
Hurry to S&K, the Plaza Lynchburg, Grand Pavilion Roanoke, and Piedmont Mall Danville.
Atlantic Coast Conference football. seen exclusively on Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions. South Carolina within 7 points, but the Gamecocks have been stopped on the goal line, and Virginia takes over. Look at that yardage, 129 yards for South Carolina, nothing for Virginia, and they have to come up with something now from their goal line. Straight ahead, Don Majkowski got about 2 yards, but that's not bad from that point on the field.
Well, that was the safe call to make. You've got a good-sized quarterback who knows how to run the football. He steps it up straight ahead. Middle linebacker Willie Hill makes the stop. But at least it gives Virginia a little bit of running room. You know, when you think about that Virginia offense, with a tailback 7 to 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage, he's pretty deep in the end zone on these plays.
2nd down, 8. Morgan, the tailback. Derwin Griggs is the fullback. They give it to Morgan. Morgan outside to the 10 and to the 13, and a big first down for Virginia.
He was one step away from breaking a big one. Watch Kevin Morgan. You get the view from the end zone. He cuts it back nicely. Got some good blocking on that side and came very close to popping it for a big one.
We are winding down the third period. Just a minute 50 to go. It's been all South Carolina, but still the Gamecocks trail by 7, and McCaskey is back to throw. Forward up at the 26-yard line, 1st and 10, and for the first time in the second half, the Cavaliers are on the move.
And very importantly for John Ford, he catches a ball in the middle of the field. Well-executed play there. They sent Morgan into the flat, and then Ford from his outside position curled into the middle of the field. It's a safe pass. If it's well thrown, it can't be stopped.
26-yard line, second first down of the drive, which started just outside the goal line. That's Dempsey in motion. A little bit of a bobble by Morgan, who then dives forward. He was tripped up by Zip Sanders, and then Kenneth Robinson covered up.
There's 2 reasons for lining up the tailback deep in the formation as you look at the score here in the closing minutes of period number 3. One, it enables him to pick out a hole. Secondly, it enables him to get up a little bit of a head of steam so that when he makes contact with the defense, he's the aggressor rather than the target.
2nd down and 7 for the Cavaliers. Majkowski back to throw. In trouble. And dumps it off to Morgan nicely. Kenneth Robinson, though, right there to bring him down at the 31-yard line.
Well, you can't beat experience. Don Majkowski was in trouble. He steps up. Watch it on the replay. Morgan there blocking, and then his responsibility is to step out into the flat. And it's just a little flip pass, but instead of a several-yard loss, it's 3rd and a makeable 4 yards for a first down.
Kenneth Robinson stayed right there, though, covering his area and made the play. We may or may not get this play off. Looks like we will now, down to 9 seconds in the third period. It's a big one, 3rd down and short 4. On the draw, Morgan got the first down as he was driven forward by the momentum of the tackle of Fitzgerald Davis. He was not going to get that first down, but Fitzgerald Davis made sure on the tackle and actually drove him beyond the sticks.
So a big break for the Virginia Cavaliers. Kenneth Robinson was the guy who had him by the jersey, preventing Morgan from getting the first down. But as you accurately described, Gary, Fitzgerald Davis's momentum pushed Morgan past the first down marker.
Well, that's the end of the third period with the score. Virginia 27, South Carolina 20. We've got a good one, and we'll be right back.
At Delta, we could talk about our airplanes, some of the best maintained, most modern birds in the sky, or our schedules, over 1,500 flights a day worldwide, or our flight centers, the airports of the future. But none of that is as important as people. And when it comes to the Delta professionals, the people who make Delta as great as it is, well, one smile is worth 1,000 words. Delta gets you there.
When my big guy wanted something special, I said, sweetheart, I've got just the recipe. Shrimp, scallops, 3 pastas. Enough garlic, honey?
Perfect.
And, of course, our favorite beer, Natural Light. The beer with the taste for food. Another natural, sweetheart.
skim.
Waiter?
Yeah, all natural, less filling. It's Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch.
Allow me, darling. What's a smart woman make for dinner? Reservations. Where are we going tomorrow night, honey?
There you see part of the crowd here, the Nissan Game of the Week. Virginia 27, South Carolina 20. 1 quarter to go, and you couldn't ask for much more in the way of excitement for an opening day game.
It's been a terrific way to kick off the season, Gary. We've had gorgeous weather, big crowd here at Scott Stadium, and very exciting football being played down on the turf this afternoon.
Virginia moving the football now. The Cavaliers have been totally outplayed in the third period, but now they've got a drive going in 1st and 10 across the 37-yard line. Don Majkowski fakes to the fullback, optioning to Kevin Morgan. Morgan with some room across the 40 and across the 45-yard line. Shed Diggs was the man who rode him down.
That time the exuberance of the Carolina defense hurts them. Tommy Chaikin, so intent on scraping out that way, overruns the ball carrier as well as Robinson, and that allowed Morgan to get upfield with good first down yardage. Close enough for a measurement.
Morgan has 14 carries for 65 yards.
Along with the good field position and moving the football now for Virginia, they have also given their defense a much-needed breather here for the last 4 or 5 minutes because it's warm down on the turf this time of year. The temperature at game time was about 75 degrees. You can add about 15 to 20 degrees to that temperature down on the artificial surface. So I can guarantee you the defense is happy to have gotten the breather along the sideline.
They need no part of the South Carolina offense right now. They stopped them by what, about an inch away from the goal line. Cavaliers have 1st and 10 outside their 47. This drive started right an inch away from the goal line, or an inch or two anyway. Fake the give, and the pitch out then to John Ford, and Ford is hit first by Luther Johnson, and then covered up. I said pitch out, actually the pass out to the sideline.
The wide receiver quick screen, Majkowski paid for it, and John Ford at the receiving end paid for it as well. Play action quick screen, and I mean to tell you, Fitzgerald Davis waffled Majkowski, and then John Ford just had no place to run with the football as Shed Diggs was there to make the stop at the linebacking position for South Carolina.
2nd down, 8. Gives Majkowski back to throw. They pick it up well. Edwards to knock the ball away.
Virginia picked up the South Carolina blitz, and when you blitz, you leave man coverage on the tight end. Brad Edwards, the safety man, on the turnout route for what a good effort.
That looks easy when you see it on television, but he really had to extend his body and make the full effort to make that play.
I'll tell you, looking at Brad yesterday during practice, I'm glad he's down the field. He's got the looks that he'd be after our job.
He will be, a couple of years. 3rd down, 8. They fake the give, and Majkowski eludes the pressure again. Now he will run, and he will get the first down, I think. This is where they spot it. Very, very close to the first down.
Greg Philpott, the All-South Independent defensive back last year, really nailed Majkowski right at the first down marker. David Rootbeer Johnson putting the pressure on. Majkowski stepped around it, turned it upfield, and I don't think he made it because where they spotted the ball was just before that he stretched the chain. He's about 3/4 of the length of the football short.
Now, wait a minute. Of those, to 3/4 of the length of the football, huh?
Well, as I looked at it, it was a little shorter than a full football.
All right.
Hey, when you spend all those years as a receiver, you learn to know exactly how big that football is.
Todd Majkowski, 12 of 23 for 211 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. He's run the ball 10 times for 43 yards. And are they going to go for it on 4th down at this part of the field? That surprises me. What do you think about this, Mr. Perkins?
I'd go for this because you've been moving the ball on the ground.
I would punt it. 4th down, they're in close. Quarterback sneaking. I think his lead got him the first down.
He only had to get across the plane of the first down line.
Look at all the people on the line of scrimmage. South Carolina had 10 men on the line of scrimmage, and Majkowski at 6'2", 200 pounds, and a good high jumper. That young man high jumped 6'9" at Fort Union Prep School. So you can take your chances that he can hurdle over that line. That was the forward Fosbury.
Impressive statistic, Mr. Corrigan.
Hey, you pull him out of nowhere sometimes.
27-20, 13:04 to go. First down at the 42-yard line. Fake the give. Majkowski on the option. Pitches it out. Chris Warren, look out. 40-yard line. 35 before he is ridden down by Greg Philpott.
One of the toughest blocks to make in the option offense is the guy at the corner. Watch Joel Dempsey, the tight end. He has to hook that man, and he did the job that enabled Warren to turn the corner. He hooked Willie McGinty, and that was what South Carolina did not want to have happen. Greg Philpott finally made the stop of Virginia with a 2nd and short.
Don't forget, this drive started just outside the Virginia goal line. This is Chris Warren again.
I'll tell you what, that was great anticipation by McEntee. I thought that makes Virginia lose a yard or so, and it sets up a 3rd and 2.
At the 34-yard line of South Carolina, but the point you made earlier, Jack, I think is becoming intensified with every play. They've kept their defense off the field now for a good 5 or 6 minutes or close to it, with a quarter break anyway, a good rest for them.
And now they're in a situation that they can try for the field goal or punt if they don't make the first down here, and back up South Carolina. And those 3 points that Carolina gave away could loom large.
This is Kevin Morgan looking for the first down, and he cuts back and gets the first down all the way to the 25-yard line. Good, smart, patient running by Kevin Morgan.
This looks like a totally different Virginia offensive line here in the 4th quarter. After being really stuffed in period 3, they have reclaimed the trenches. Morgan working it to the outside, and only Brad Edwards stopped this from being a big one.
First down at the 26, just inside the 26. Now 11:54 left to go in the 4th period, and the way they're running this clock down, South Carolina may only get 1 or 2 more tries at it.
They've had the ball for 6 minutes now on this drive.
Fake the give, Majkowski to throw, in trouble. Lofts it down the sideline and out of bounds, and that was one of those, let's regroup and try again.
Majkowski's pass is incomplete.
Here's the way the game has gone by quarters. Virginia up by 7 after 1. Up by 14 after 2. South Carolina totally controlled the 3rd period and really looked like they were taking over the game until this drive.
Well, when Virginia stopped South Carolina at the goal line, the offense for the Cavaliers knew they had to come out and regain control of the game. Not only have they done that by running off more than 6 minutes of the clock, but also because they are moving into scoring zone.
You saw Virginia very good when they lead at halftime. Here's Morgan once again to the 20-yard line. He'll come up about 3-4 yards shy of a first down and bring up another ball possession down, but now Virginia getting into pretty good field goal range and only 11-plus minutes to go and leading by 7 points. 3 points would look pretty nice on the scoreboard.
Young Kevin Morgan did a lot of this ground gaining on his own because that play as it was unfolding did not look like it was going to be very successful for the Cavaliers, but he was able to push it ahead to inside the 20. Joe Morrison starting to get concerned on the far side. George Wells knows this is a big play. He wants 7. He doesn't want the 3 either. He wants to keep the drive going.
3rd down and 3. 38. Majkowski still has the football, and he is ridden down. Brad Edwards up from the secondary with a big defensive play for the Gamecocks.
Good guess on the part of the South Carolina defensive unit. They expected Virginia to go to the option. So Edwards stepped up onto the line of scrimmage from his strong safety position, and he stops Majkowski and forces Virginia to try for the 3.
Well, Mauricio Manca has hit a 20-yarder and a 22-yarder, those very early. Now, Virginia has used 7 minutes on the clock. They can really put a nail in the South Carolina coffin if this 36-yard field goal attempt is through the uprights. CQ's to hold. Here it is. Partially blocked at the line of scrimmage. I think he kicked it low.
Good penetration by South Carolina, but I think you're right, Gary. I don't think he got the elevation he wanted on that field goal. So Virginia dominates the clock, but comes away with nothing.
10:09 to go, 27-20 Virginia. Back after this from your local ACC stations.
2.9%. Magic City Ford announces the most competitive rates ever. 2.9%. Factory financing on 86 Escorts, Tempos, Mustangs, Thunderbirds, Rangers, Bronco 2s, and all light trucks. Or factory cash rebates up to $1,000 on select models. Ask for details. 2.9%. Never before have rates been so low. And never before has Magic City Ford offered a better bottom line deal. 2.9%. Cash rebates at Magic City Ford. Feel the magic.
Parts and service are very important.
Jack Baker, president of Baker Brothers, your Case equipment dealer, talks about parts and service.
A contractor needs to know he can have Case parts and service on site immediately. It's important to our customers. It's important to us.
Case equipment at Baker Brothers, where parts and service are always a part of the sale. Call 344-2061 and let the professionals work with you. Baker Brothers, Roanoke and Stanton.
Superfans, don't forget to pick up your free Superfans souvenir item. Ticket patrons in sections 25 and 26 in the south end zone present your ticket stub at the distribution tables located directly above sections 25 and 26.
There's our Nissan Game of the Week for next week. We will be at Clemson, Virginia Tech, and the Tigers. And the Tigers have got their entire team intact. Controversy is past. They'll look forward to taking on the Hokies. Virginia on top by 7 here. 10:09 to go, and a big drive beginning now for South Carolina. 27-20 Virginia. Harold Green is the setback. Ellis to throw. He fires it, and almost picked off.
I believe that was tipped by one of the linebackers initially. Let's take another look at it. I think Delano Tyler got a piece of this ball going by. Yes, he did. And very nearly intercepted by Ryan Jackson.
Jackson really had that one timed. Ellis now 8 of 16 for 85 yards. Second down, 10. That's Sharpe in motion. Ellis is ridden down by Edgar Davis.
Busted play.
Senior out of Washington, D.C., won the Bill Dudley Award for Outstanding Freshman back in '83 and hasn't played much since.
Look at this play from literally ground level. Ellis turned the wrong way, and now he just tries to get what he can get, and it's not much. 3rd and long for the Gamecocks.
That long drive by Virginia really turned the momentum around in this football game. Ellis has time. Now he runs out of time, and flag is down as well.
David Griggs, defensive left end with the penetration, the converted tight end, has really done the job. There was a holding penalty against South Carolina, but I'm sure the Cavaliers will refuse it because it'll be a 4th and long for the Gamecocks.
Here's the call.
Illegal use of hands on the offense. It's declined. It's 4th down.
David Griggs, one of the best recruits in the country when he was a senior at Pennsauken, New Jersey. He was rated a top 100 prospect. He just blew his way right through freshman tackle Mark Fryer and dumped Ellis.
So once again, Scott Bain will punt from the goal line. He has kicked well today. Almost had that one blocked. Fair catch called for by Warren at his 46-yard line. That's where Virginia will have it with only 8 minutes and 58 seconds to go in the game. And the Wahoos on top, 27-20. 41-yard punt for Scott Bain. We're coming back. A very important possession for Virginia will be coming up when we come back from this break.
This probably looks like an ordinary office to you, but it isn't. We're Interstate Securities, and we bring Wall Street with all its knowledge, experience, and resources to your street with all its charm, warmth, and security. And it's all as easy as doing business with your neighbor. Interstate Securities. We bring Wall Street to your street.
America has made the Nissan Maxima their #1 choice in luxury cars. Out of that great Maxima tradition comes the first all-new 5-passenger family car from 1987, the Nissan Stanza, with just about everything you'd expect in a luxury car, except a big price. And just in case you're wondering, the Stanza is still under $10,000. See the new Stanza at your nearby Nissan dealer. They're out in front and pulling away.
Warm day on the Astro turf here in Scott Stadium. You've got to wonder about the fatigue factor for Virginia. What's it like on the South Carolina sideline, Ben Hamlin?
Well, Jack, it seems like the South Carolina Gamecock defensive players are a little bit tired. They spent most of the first half on the field. Got a bit of a breather in the third quarter, but they've been spending a lot of time on the field. I think it's taken its toll now, as evidenced by Virginia's drive the last time it had the ball.
Thank you, Ben. That was a 7-minute, 32-second, 68-yard drive Virginia had earlier. This is Chris Warren looking for some room and did well to get back to the line of scrimmage if indeed he got back.
Greg Philpott coming up quickly from his free safety position forced Warren to stretch it out. And unfortunately for Virginia, Warren could not stay in bounds, so the clock stops. Not only does Virginia want to move the football here, they want to move it with the clock rolling.
Second down, 11. Majkowski to throw. In trouble, and he hits Warren, and now the Gamecocks are in trouble. 30-yard line in the open field. Philpott, the only man back, brings him down at the 17. Chris Warren.
Going to bring it back. I think we're going to bring it back because there's a flag down at the 42-yard line of Virginia. Nope, it's going to go against the Gamecocks, I believe, according to Majkowski signaled that it went against South Carolina. That's a nicely executed play. Joe Morrison concerned it was a face mask call against the South Carolina defensive line. Watch the replay. Straight drop back. Warren delays and then goes into the area vacated by the linebackers who had stepped up to pressure Majkowski. You put that freight train in the open field, watch out.
Very accurate description. He is something to see in the open field, and Joe Morrison doesn't want to see any more of it, I'm sure.
You know who he reminds me of a little bit? Let's get the call.
5-yard penalty, face mask during the pass on the defense will be declined. It's going to be first down for Virginia.
Chris Warren reminds me of Kelvin Bryant.
Well, we'll see tomorrow.
That's right. Kelvin will get his NFL debut tomorrow.
And this is the debut for Chris Warren as an offensive collegiate player. All he's done is pick up 102 yards and a touchdown on the ground in 12 carries, and one reception he just had for 37 yards, and a kickoff return to start the game that was pretty fair yardage as well.
Well, you knew he could do it in high school. He ran for better than 1,400 yards at Robinson High School up in Burke, Virginia.
17-yard line, first down. Majkowski gives it to Pat Tolan, who broke into the open for a moment and gets down to the 10-yard line. Tolan has pretty good power, and he's within 3 yards of a first down, and the clock continues to wind. Now 8.5 minutes left to play.
Take an end zone look at the inside play with the fullback. Good block at the point of attack by Paul Sirosinski, the right guard. He walled off the nose man and interior linebackers of South Carolina.
Tar Heels have opened it up now on the Citadel, 45-14 in the final period. Second down, 3. Warren takes a hit from Philpott, and Warren showed us he can take a hit right there because he took one right from the shoulder of Philpott and bounced off and may have gotten the first down as a result.
You always worry about an offensive back who turns his back on the defense because that's when you can really get hurt. But in that situation, Warren was able to ward off the hit of Philpott and Shed Diggs to a certain degree by turning his body and get forward progress.
First down and goal inside the 7-yard line. Virginia can almost put this thing on ice with a touchdown. Not quite, but it would look awfully nice for them on the board. Majkowski option functioning. He'll run, and he dives to the 4-yard line. How high did you say he can high jump?
He jumped 6'9" in high school or in prep school. That was more of a long jump, I think. Again, Virginia liking to go away from the strength of their formation. But nice job by Zip Zanders, the middle linebacker, to move with the quarterback and make the play after a 2-yard gain.
Second down goal from the 4. John Ford split to the wide side of the field. There you see him. Dempsey in motion. Warren, Shed Diggs hit him first. And then he was ridden down by Fitzgerald Davis at the 5-yard line.
You get into great philosophical discussions with coaches about tendencies. Virginia with the tendency to run away from the strength of their formation. Eventually, the defense starts to expect you to do that. Then do you say, hey, try and stop us, we're going to do it anyway, or do you try and go to something different?
We'll see what they do on 3rd and goal from the 5. Majkowski fakes to Morgan, gets away from trouble, and gets what he can to about the 4-yard line, and that's all.
Chris Major blitzed from his cornerback position. He was the guy who put pressure on Majkowski. Tough decision here for George Welsh, who's going to kick the field goal.
I think a very good move because he is a touchdown up, and this will really put the pressure on South Carolina. How many times today has Majkowski avoided the loss?
He's a good athlete. There's no question that he reacts well to pressure. Tries to make something positive out of it happen. I think the most impressive thing, he has not made the crucial mistake.
Sequels will hold. Monka will kick. They whistle it down. I think the kick was good, but let's see.
I think they ran out of time. Virginia, I believe, will be called for delay of game.
Dead ball foul, delay of game. Clock ran out before the kick. 5-yard penalty.
So Monka will have to do it again.
Cavaliers wanted to run as much time off the clock as they could. Unfortunately, now you take it from being a routine extra point attempt, although it would be worth 3 points in terms of distance, an extra point attempt, to now being a field goal of a little more distance. He's got it down
18 yards.
He's going to put it down just outside the 50,
oh, yeah, I'm
so
sorry,
about 26-yard field goal.
Yeah, I'm looking at the line of scrimmage. The kick by Monka. He got it. Monka is 3 of 4, and Virginia has extended its lead out of reach of a score, 30-20 with 5:28 to go. Well, the Gamecocks really have their work cut out for them. They're down by 10 with 5:28 to go. Virginia 30, South Carolina 20. We'll be back.
Your Jefferson Standard agent is worried about you. He worries whether your current retirement plan will buy the kind of retirement you want, whether you'll be able to send the kids to school. If you become ill or disabled, will you have the right coverage to see you through recovery? Maybe you're not worrying about these things, but isn't it nice to know that somebody is?
Bill, it's all worked out. Well, I've got nothing to worry about then.
Jefferson Standard. Our business is your future.
Wachovia has the loan to put wind in your sails. Wachovia, where the money's coming from. Wachovia has the loan to give your home a little elbow room. Wachovia, where the money's coming from.
An important 3 points for Virginia here. Scott Sequels did a good job of handling the snap that was a little bit to his right, getting it down from Masurio Monka to put it through the uprights. Virginia now with a 10-point lead, just under 5.5 minutes to play.
And I would think that South Carolina would have to abandon any thoughts of going to that ball control type offense they started the second half in. The run and shoot is meant for this kind of situation, and they'll have to go to it.
Well, not to say I told you so there, partner, but that field goal that South Carolina disdained looks a little larger right now.
In this case, I would have to say that your idea might have been the better one. Jeff Gaffney kicks off for Virginia. This one comes to Sterling Sharpe, who starts from his 14. Across the 20, breaks one tackle, and then brought down by David Griggs at the 23-yard line. Let's go down to the sidelines and check in with Ben Hamlin.
Hey, Gary, I'm over on the Virginia side now, and the Virginia players look a lot more ready to play than the South Carolina players. The Virginia defense has not been on the field as much, sitting over with those wet towels. All they have to do is really shut down the Gamecocks one more time, and this one's over for sure. Back upstairs to you, Gary.
Thank you, Ben. Of course, a 10-point lead will make you feel that much more chipper, won't it, Jack?
Without question.
At the 23-yard line, 1st and 10. Gamecocks have to get busy. Ellis to throw, pressure, lets it fly. Ryan Buffet catches the pass behind him, eludes one tackle, and is really smacked from behind at the 40-yard line. Jeff Lageman was heading in the right direction to make that stop.
They need to get the ball to Ryan Buffet more frequently. The young man from Columbia, South Carolina, has made some fine catches this afternoon for the Gamecocks. This is another good one over the middle. He took a pretty good lick coming up here from Jeff Lageman.
39-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Gamecocks. Less than 5 minutes left to play. That's Raynard Brown in motion. Ellis on the roll. Overshoots Brown and throws it behind. Ryan Buffet, you take your choice, who he was gunning for.
Well, Kevin Gould mad at himself in the secondary for Virginia. He was lining up to go after Raynard Brown to put the pop on him. Had he broken to the ball, he might have picked it off. South Carolina did a good job that time of picking up the Virginia pressure from the outside.
It does stop the clock with 4:46 to go. 2nd down and 10 for the Gamecocks. Ellis now 9 of 18 for 101 yards. Again, Brown in motion. Protection good. Ellis undershoots Ryan Buffet.
And David Griggs in his face. That's a tough throw. You are talking about throwing the ball about 40 yards to get yourself a 12-yard completion. He was all the way on the left hash, throwing to the right sideline. And with Griggs in his face, he just couldn't get good follow-through on that attempt.
Here's a big play for the Gamecocks. 3rd down and 10. They are down 10 points. They'd have a tough decision to make. If they don't make it, they'd probably kick it away. So this is a big one. Ellis has a nice pocket to work with, and he completes it to Danny Smith. And Smith, juking around, gets to the 45-yard line. And Smith really helped his quarterback out because that was a nice catch in addition to the throw.
Danny Smith, the converted tight end, running from the wideout spot on the left side. Good pocket protection by South Carolina. Ellis waits, throws. Smith with a good catch on the curl route inside of the linebacker and in front of the safety man.
1st down at the Virginia 45. Clock moving with 4:13 to play. Virginia 30, South Carolina 20. Ellis on the roll. Raynard Brown with a nice catch. And Ellis is going to win no popularity contest with his receivers if he continues to throw the ball in a position where they've got to stretch up high for it. North Carolina's won their ball game 45-14 over the Citadel. Good start for Dick Crum and company. And another 1st down here for the Gamecocks. Some nice receptions on this drive.
Raynard Brown knows in this kind of pattern, he's probably going to get popped. Eric Clay guaranteed it for him.
Yeah. Nice drive for the Gamecocks. Still almost 4 minutes left to play. Ellis to throw again. Given time. And overshoots his man, and it's picked off. Eric Clay with the interception. He was trying to hit Danny Smith. He'd been throwing his passes high. That one was too high.
He had Danny Smith open between the linebackers and the defensive secondary. He got it over Delano Tyler, but also got it over the head of Danny Smith. And Eric Clay with the big interception that could clinch it for the Cavaliers.
Well, Virginia in good shape now, leading at 30-20 over South Carolina, and we'll be right back.
I've been shot at, shot up, and shot down, so I don't take chances on anything. I won't touch a filter that isn't from AC. Why mess with air filters that can't go for up to 30,000 miles, or oil filters that can't deliver up to 15,000? For the AC Delco retailer nearest you, just give me a call at 1-800-AC Delco. If you put your muscle into a job, use your head and do it with AC Delco.
Now's the time to vacation in Europe with Delta. We'll give you a free car for a week, a free hotel room for a night, and just $52 a night after that. We'll fly you to England, or France, or Germany, or Ireland. For prices in your city, call your travel agent. Europe and Delta.
Look at the perhaps fatal interception for Todd Ellis. You could see he short-armed that ball. By that I mean he had his elbow down. And when you have your elbow down throwing the football, the ball tends to sail. The nose gets up and it sails. It sailed right into the arms of that man on the Virginia bench, Eric Clay, with his first interception of the season.
Virginia up by 10, 3:41 to play, and the Cavaliers own the football. Couple of yards there with 3.5 minutes to play, and second down and 8. At the very least, Virginia will make South Carolina use some timeouts during this drive. It's Kevin Morgan on the carry.
At this point, South Carolina cannot afford to use a timeout. They've got to wait here till third down probably to start making use of their timeouts, because they need some of them on offense, because they're down by 2 scores, not 1.
Derwin Griggs, the fullback, Morgan, the tailback. This time, Derwin Griggs does not get a whole lot, but they don't need a whole lot right now because they're using clock. We'd like to take this time to thank, from the University of South Carolina, Assistant Athletic Director Sid Wilson, Sports Information Director Tom Price and their staff, and from the University of Virginia, future Hall of Fame Sports Information Director Rich Murray and his staff. And Rich is going to be a big-time broadcaster someday, from what I understand.
The New York Mets. As soon as they're ready, Rich is ready.
So Rich told us over dinner last night. 2.5 to go, 30-20. Virginia on top. Majkowski. Rayotis up to the 41-yard line.
It's a safe play call. You want to maintain possession of the ball, but you're not going to be careless. So you throw the sideline out pattern. Rayotis takes it from being a simple first down to a big gainer. And that, I think, was the final nail in the coffin of the Gamecocks.
I think you're right. Less than 12. It's 2:03 right now as they stop the clock for the first down, but we'll be under the 2-minute mark here presently. And barring an unforeseen set of circumstances, Virginia will win its opener, and South Carolina in tough shape. 0-2. They've got Western Carolina next week, but then Georgia and Nebraska, and you make that kind of a schedule for yourself and you pay the price.
You flip it the other way for George Welsh's young Virginia Cavaliers. This is an important victory early in the season. If Virginia can get this kind of offensive production throughout the year, they're definitely going to be a factor in this ACC race.
I think they have to be just absolutely thrilled with their performance here today.
Don Majkowski, the veteran quarterback, as we told you at the very start of the telecast this afternoon, was going to be the key man for Virginia. He was the veteran, the guy who has been in that quarterback spot for a number of years with the Cavaliers. He had to rise to the occasion this afternoon. He certainly did so.
Also want to take some time to thank, from Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions, our network coordinator, Tony Johnson, and production secretaries Barbara Pravat and Dana Lambert. They have been working hard for the telecast you've seen today. First down at the 40, Don Majkowski. This is Kevin Morgan, and Greg Philpott brought him down, or Morgan might have been off to the races if he'd cut back just an inch sooner.
Well, South Carolina has to gamble now. Shed Diggs, one of the linebackers there. You see Joe Morrison screaming for a timeout call.
Did he want a timeout there?
They lost about 6 or 7 seconds with not looking over to the sidelines.
Well, he's not in a good mood right now under any circumstances.
Well, you got that right.
With this timeout, let's take a quick look at the University of South Carolina.
Vision. Look to human commitment and the wonders of technology for answers to the most challenging questions of our time. Look to inquisitive minds applying newfound knowledge to improve the quality of our lives. Look to the distinctive character and the vision of a premier research university. Look to the University of South Carolina.
Gary Sparber with Jack Corrigan, Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions, our ACC opener, and you see the score, 30-20. Virginia on top of South Carolina with 1:36 to go.
This score is going to raise a few eyebrows around the conference. People knew that Virginia had some talent. This is a pretty good South Carolina ball club. Don't let that 0-2 mark now fool you into thinking the Gamecocks can't play.
Second down and 6. Morgan now the workhorse in the late going. Willie McEntee and Greg Philpott trip him up a couple of yards shy of the first down marker, which is at the 50-yard line.
South Carolina again wants the timeout call, and they finally get it. They are down to their final timeout, and we are down to 84 seconds to go in the game.
Now today's winners of our Poland Most Valuable Player Awards: Don Majkowski from the University of Virginia and Kenneth Robinson from South Carolina. As part of the Poland Most Valuable Player Awards scholarship program, Poland will donate $500 to the General Scholarship Fund of South Carolina and Virginia. Poland, America's chainsaw. Majkowski 14 for 26, 271 yards, and Robinson showed up on the screen about as much as anybody.
He has to be in double figures tackles without question for South Carolina.
He did the job, but Virginia's offensive line surprisingly effective for how young they are. Next week, our Nissan Game of the Week, originating from Clemson, South Carolina. Always some great hospitality there. And Virginia Tech will be visiting. Another non-conference affair, and the Tigers definitely an ACC contender. We'll get to see Kenny Flowers and the rest. And Virginia Tech, they're playing today against Cincinnati, so they'll be a game in. Similar situation to what we have today. One team starting the season, another one game in. Third down, less than 2. 1:24 to go in the game. Virginia by 10, and they have the football. Majkowski, is that a broken play or what?
I think it was a broken play. I think he wanted to give it to his fullback on the option there. So the Cavaliers will have to punt as South Carolina uses its final timeout. Keep in mind, Virginia has had problems in their punting game this afternoon. Joel Dempsey hit a couple of short ones that led to 2 of the 3 South Carolina scores. They also had one partially blocked here in the second half. It's 4th and a long yard for the Cavaliers. South Carolina is out of timeouts. George Welsh with the decision to be made here. Do we go for the first down or do we punt it away? I punt it away.
Hey, that's the first time we've agreed on one of these, I think, today. But obviously the strategy being with only 1:17 to go, make them go that extra 40 yards. That's going to use some time.
Well, you have to take your chances. You got to have enough confidence in your special teams, in this case the punt team, to get this punt away. All you got to do is get it downfield. It doesn't have to go that far. You just don't want to get it blocked.
Of course, punting the football has not been the Virginia strength today.
No, but again, you're talking about early season. And if you demonstrate to your kids early on that you don't have confidence in the punting game, when you know you might have some rough edges early in the year, you create a confidence factor problem.
Having heard the wisdom of Jack Corrigan, George Welsh sends the punt team on.
Thanks, George.
Joel Dempsey, who has had a rough day as the punter, pretty good day as the tight end, almost has it blocked, gets off a floater, a nice one. Sterling Sharpe, fair catch, lets it go, goes out of bounds deep in Gamecock territories, and a bad situation has just become worse for South Carolina. At the 6-yard line, they'll spot it. There's part of the happy crowd here at Scott Stadium. 45-yard punt.
Nothing wrong with that effort by Joel Dempsey. What's the old adage? When you get knocked down or you have some problems, you get right back up and do it again. Joel's last 2 punts have been well struck.
Six-yard line. Here come the Gamecocks with 1:09 to go.
One timeout, no timeouts left.
Raynard Brown starts one way, goes back in motion the other way. Todd Ellis throws. He has got Raynard Brown at the 25, up to the 30, and ridden down there at the 30-yard line by Eric Clay, I should say.
Clock will stop momentarily while they move the chains on the far side. South Carolina, that's the only way they can stop the clock. Incomplete passes or get it out of bounds.
Todd Ellis back to throw. Intending it for Sterling Sharpe and almost picked up by Eric Clay. A couple of number 2s converging on your screen.
Eric Clay again right in position to pick a ball off. I think Jeff Lageman, the 6'6 linebacker for Virginia, got a piece of that football. These are always the longest seconds for the coach who's ahead.
50 seconds left, as you see. 2nd down and 10. Virginia with a 10-point lead. South Carolina with the ball. Here's Ellis. Being rushed by Rayotis Perkins. Trying to hit Ryan Bethea, and Bethea makes a circus catch out of bounds. So that will go for naught, but it was pretty.
Well, Ryan Jackson with good coverage downfield. Late in the ball game, when you've got a guy running a fly pattern, the quarterback wants to force that guy into the sideline so that if that ball is not perfectly thrown, more often than not, he's going to catch it out of bounds. Long afternoon, Joe.
You know, we're going to be leaving the air in a hurry because we're running late. I just want to say that I've admired these broadcasts for a long time, watching them. I really admire them now, watching how the people at Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions work. Great job by the crew. Here's Todd Ellis. Throwing downfield, and, well, I guess it was for Sterling Sharpe. Either way, it's going to be 4th and 10.
Virginia has certainly taken Sterling Sharpe out of the South Carolina passing game this afternoon. Going in, George Welsh knew that was the big play guy they had to deny for South Carolina.
South Carolina next week will take on Western Carolina, and that is a game that they will want to win extremely badly because after that it's Georgia and Nebraska.
Virginia goes back to George Welsh's old address, the Naval Academy.
Triple wide receivers to the left on that formation. Ellis will go to at least one of them, and it's picked off.
Dennis Fields.
Fields back across the 40, 45, or 30, 25, and deep in the Gamecock territory. Still going, and finally ridden down by Anthony Smith at the 15. So with 23 seconds left to go, I think that is the exclamation point on the Virginia victory.
Impressive win this afternoon for a young Cavalier football team that is going to get better, ladies and gentlemen.
There's a happy George Welsh. And he's got something to show the Naval Academy because Navy stuck it to him last year. There's a disappointed Joe Morrison. .23 seconds left, and now they just run out the clock. Majkowski, very chipper and happy about things, just puts the knee down. And the crowd here at Scott Stadium, I would think, would give their team a very warm ovation for a job well done as the clock winds down. There's the victorious head coach, George Welsh. 30-20, Virginia wins it over South Carolina. A happy opener for the Wahoos here at Scott Stadium. So there's your final score. Virginia 30, South Carolina 20. The teams congregate on the fields. We're back after this for your local ACC stations.
Before you slip it over, before you pull it up, before you slide it on, before you dress, Caress. Caress isn't a soap. It's the body bar with bath oil. Caress can't dry your skin the way soap can. Gives you the soft you just can't get from soap. You'll feel smoother, softer than anything that touches you. Before you dress, Caress.
You know, S&K has some great buys on menswear for fall, like this English Manor corduroy coat for only $59.95. And wool blend slacks and wool blend sweaters are both just $24.99 each. Plus, S&K has knit ties and your all-time favorite Oxford cloth dress shirts. Hey, dummy, sit down!
Hurry to S&K, the Plaza Lynchburg, Grand Pavilion Roanoke, and Piedmont Mall Danville.
Your final score in the Nissan Game of the Week, the Virginia Cavaliers 30 and the South Carolina Gamecocks 20. Next week, we're in Clemson for the Virginia Tech Hokies visiting the Clemson Tigers in the Nissan Game of the Week. For Jack Corrigan and Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions, I'm Gary Sparber. We'll see you next week in Clemson.